Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Stand in line for your fix. Marcus, and Marcus in the mix, serving you yet another round of fish and grits. July 20th, 2017. That much closer to football. I love it. How y'all feeling today, fellas?
Man, I just know I'm not black. I'm OJ.
The lies you tell. I ain't trying to hear that. Don't you come on
Okay.
here with that foolishness. How my man
Now,
Michael Clark Duncan said on Talladega Nights, don't you put that
But
juju on this show, Ricky
don't you
Bobby.
put
Don't you
that
do that.
about
Don't you
Hey,
do
before before
that.
we even get into OJ, we do have to, you know what I'm saying, on a serious note, a lot of people suffer from things that we really don't understand. And especially in the case of Chester Bennington, committed suicide at the age of 41. It's a very serious issue because a lot of people feel like they can't express themselves to humans or they just don't have nobody they can talk to. We need to let the people know that it's always an open ear somewhere. Maybe you got to look a little bit harder. Maybe it may come from a source you never even thought of. But seriously, people, if you ever feeling like you got to end it all or any type of thoughts like that, just reach out to somebody because you never know that one conversation could save your life. And RIP to Chester.
I
Definitely.
I agree
Definitely
with that,
RIP.
and it's sad that it kind of hit home because it was very unexpected. And his friend just died. What I want to say back in May. And it's just sad to see that somebody so young gone so soon. And I know Lincoln Park hasn't been cranking out any hits anytime soon, but I just remember as a child growing up, honestly, Lincoln Park was the nigga band for all of us.
Mhm.
People that really didn't jam rock like that. It was like Fall Out Boys and Lincoln Park, and it take me back, and I was going through their playlist of their discography, and I was jamming some of their music, and I was just thinking to myself just how they really did bridge the gap and made it cool to jam rock, honestly. And then when they made a collabo album with Jay-Z, that made it even better. And it's sad to see that he was suffering for this thing, but it just goes to show you that you can never have too much money or too much fame. You still a human at the end of the day. You still go through problems, and you have to talk those situations out and those
Yeah.
problems out, and don't hold it in.
It's a
And
lot of
men
demons, man. It's a lot of demons people fight.
and men in
Oh yeah.
general need to talk out because men are taught to kind of keep your feelings to yourself. If
Mhm.
something wrong with you, you kind of deal with it yourself. But we're human at the end of the day, and I know people want to look at that as being bitch made or something like that. If you shed some type of emotions, but it's we living in times where we need to talk things out because we face daily demons every day.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And people get into those stereotypes and those stigmas, the machismo and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I make sure that I go by common sense and things that we can all identify with. One thing I know at the end of the day, regardless of how we want to look at it, I know that the easiest thing in the world to do, 9 times out of 10, is the wrong thing.
Hmm.
Because if the right thing was so easy to do, then everybody would do it.
Everybody would do it. Yes.
Exactly.
So to say, oh, you bitch made you soft serve ice cream, because I watched Snowfall the other day. Hilarious. Uh, but yeah, man, you can't cry, you can't emote, you can't do it. To me, that's the hardest thing for a man to do. So to me, that's the right thing to do. It takes a certain level of strength and toughness and security in your quote unquote manliness to be able to emote properly because you need that release. It's part of the human condition. It's the reason why we shed tears, and it actually makes us feel lighter. It feels
Mhm.
like we take a weight off of our shoulders when we shed those tears because it's a release.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also have to stop perpetuating stereotypes and break those cycles because we have nephews and sons and godchildren and stuff like that to look to see how we react to certain situations and how we choose to express ourselves. And if they grow up in a world where they're taught to suppress what it is that comes naturally to them as far as being able to express the way that they feel or how they choose to emote over something that bothers them, then you're just going to go through and you're going to raise a whole nother generation of people that do not know how to interact, do
Yes.
not know how to handle adversity well, do not know how to deal with those situations that can be addressed easily or solved easily, as opposed to you just internalizing, keeping things in, and then letting it bubble over and manifest and potentially turn into suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideations, and even acting out on that. The worst part about suicide is just the ultimate no take back. You can't
Yeah, you can't take
take
that
it
back.
back.
It's no redos.
Once it's
It's done.
done, and people don't quite understand
The concept of it.
on the impact of it, how
Mhm.
many lives that they
Yeah.
don't think care about them that they ultimately affect once the deed is done. Well, we can't tell you how much you mean to us if you're not here. So if you ever
Exactly.
feel that way, talk to somebody. Suicide hotlines, guidance counselors, people in your neighborhood, your pastors, or people in your church or clergy, whatever it takes, whatever outlet you can find, whatever it is that you can do. If you want to shoot us email or shoot us a
Call
message
us.
on the
Right there.
Facebook page. I mean, whatever it's, I'm completely serious. This is no
Yeah,
joke, no
yeah. No,
nothing.
all of us
Talk
are.
to any of us, man.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it takes. I would much rather be able to sit and talk with you and try to get you out of that situation or out of that mood that you're in than to sit and have to speak in remembrance of you on one of these shows.
Yes.
Exactly. And another thing that was crazy about his passing of Chester was that his friend Chris Cornell, who I was speaking about earlier, today was his birthday, and he
Mm.
died.
Yeah, he
He
sang
killed
Hallelujah at
himself.
his funeral.
Mm.
Exactly. He killed himself by suicide back in May, and it's just sad to see there are artists of that we hold to these certain caliber that are going through problems that us as normal people are going through, and it's just sad to see another great gone, because I do consider him one of the greats.
Oh yeah.
Linkin
Oh
Park.
yes, one of the most creative minds that I've seen come down the pipe, and I didn't get a chance to shoot a slug in a sensitive moment for making me feel so old, talking about how you listened to them as a child, and I was partying with them in my college years. But
Hey man.
yeah, they were the ultimate transition as far as coming on that tail end of the grunge era with the Nirvanas and stuff like that,
Hmm.
bridging over into that, Stone Temple Pilots. You had those kind of transitional groups that had that crossover appeal because people didn't want to really admit it or not, but there was a lot of black folks that came up and can sing a good Nine Inch Nails
Mhm.
song or sing a good
Exactly.
Stone Temple Pilots or a Linkin Park song, a little Limp Bizkit, going over to Coldplay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They definitely had worldwide appeal to everybody. I mean, they just made good music, and he was a big part of that. And it's really a huge, huge loss. It's understated because we live in a world now where we're kind of jaded by things like death and tragedy and stuff like that. So we don't really
We
soak it
move
up or
on
give it its
quickly.
proper due. Yeah. But that was a huge loss to the music world.
Sure
A
was.
huge loss.
It definitely was, man. It's sad to hear that, but in a couple months we will be having a Heisman winner coming out of jail. One of the greatest at USC, longtime Buffalo
Uh,
Bill. Hey man, let's not
Give him
disrespect
his give
what
him
OJ
yes, give him
did
his
on the field.
yes,
I
give him his
understand
accolades.
OJ the person, but you can't tell me growing
You're
up
right.
that OJ wasn't a bad man. I
You're
don't care
right.
who you are.
he
I think
wasn't
we
Bo
need
Jackson, but he was all right.
Uh,
he
I
was
mean,
okay. We have
if
to
we
give him
if we're
some
talking Bo Jackson, OJ is probably three names down. I mean,
true.
Bo
We have to
Jackson, Walter, Marcus Allen, OJ.
He
I
ain't
mean,
no Barry Sanders.
we gotta give him
He
some
ain't
type
no
of respect.
Marshall Falk. I
Hey, we
mean,
gotta give him
he's legit.
we
Let me stop being salty. Y'all
yeah.
are right. I'm sorry.
You
That's
gotta
my bad. OJ is
separate
one of
the
the
artist from
all-time
the
greatest
art.
running backs in pro football and college football
but
history.
a terrible person.
I will give
I-
him his due, but that does nothing to speak of of the man outside of the uniform.
Oh, you already know that, and you already know he's getting the backlash for it too. But we got to separate for this moment, like DeMarcus said, we had to separate the artist from his art, and
Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
was a talent on the field. I
He's a terrible
personally, I didn't
person.
get to watch enough of his highlights and enough of his game tape. I am 27, so I didn't really get to look at a lot of his, but I saw a couple of his highlights, and he was a big dude, and he seemed like he was swift on the field. But
Bruh, to put it in a good sense for most of the folks that are listening that are millennials, if you can think of the prequel to what you saw from Bo Jackson and Adrian Peterson, that was OJ Simpson in a
Hmm.
nutshell. Big,
That's
fast,
high praise.
hard to handle. Dude was literally a man among boys on the field, and he was on the biggest field because at the time in the '70s, USC was one of
USC
the
was
biggest
the
programs.
biggest
They were
show
the
of all
premier
time. Yeah.
program, and they were churning out tailbacks left and right. And
Hmm.
he was just another cog on that conveyor belt. He was one of the best to ever do it. I mean, he had it all. He had the vision, he had the quickness, he had the breakaway speed. He could run through you, he could run around you, he could run past you. He was the total package at running back. He legit, no shade. He was one of the best running backs to ever tote the pill on a football field.
But did he do it? No, I'm fine.
Yeah, he did it.
no, I did. Hey, and you know what? And let me before we start getting on OJ a little bit, let me go ahead and give a shout out to the People versus OJ. What a wonderful series! I don't know
Oh
if
yeah.
anybody really
Oh
picked that
man.
out.
Over the last 2 years, I've probably been as caught up on what happened in the OJ story as ever because
I
they they
lived
they,
it.
They did
I
a great.
lived it.
Yeah, and that was one of the greatest times, mid '90s. I mean, because you talk about
Man, we was so messed up, man. I know exactly where I was. I was sitting in the sports bar. We was all hyped and excited because the Knicks and the Rockets was playing in the finals. And then they went to this old split screen, and we like,
Yes,
man,
sir.
what
Look
in
at
the
that
hell is
Bronco.
this? Who's riding on the freeway at 20 miles an hour? Who the hell is? Oh man, OJ said, don't nobody care about
Put the
OJ.
Rockets game back on.
Man, you have no
Didn't they
idea.
have the Rockets in the small box and OJ on the
Yes,
big?
they had them in the small box and they had that damn Bronco in the big, but bruh, it was folks about to riot in these streets because the people didn't know. We thought that it was something that the bar was doing. They was like, yo, man, it's the TV. We can't change it. We can't fix it. They was like, why they got him in that little bitty ass? Man, Stark's about to hit this three, man. What you doing? Change the screen. Like, they was going nuts over it. I mean, most of the people in this area will never ever forget that simply because of it occurring at that time.
Yeah, a
You know,
majority of the people remember the chase more than the Rockets winning back to back.
man.
That's a known study. Like that's a truly known study.
Well,
And the
they was in
last
the
time
midst
the
of
Knicks
hating on
was,
Texas basketball back then anyway, but that's a whole different story.
and that was the last time the Knicks was relevant, and that was look how far ago that was.
Well,
Yeah.
they did lose to the Spurs a couple years later, but yeah, that was like the pinnacle.
But I mean, you
of the
know,
Knicks
yeah,
franchise.
pretty much that little 5-6 year window was the last time that the Knicks was really hot, you know, from about 93 to about 99, 2000. And then after that, they really fell off the map.
That's true. You know, we're not gonna give too much time to OJ. He ain't getting out until October. We definitely gonna have to jump into the Defiant Ones documentary. I think that was probably one of the best 4-part series. I never felt like I did my best work with a 5-hour documentary than I did with Defiant Ones. Like just watching it in and out, just seeing the struggle, seeing their early work, seeing what they really accomplished in the music business. Not even before they even got to the big money with the beats, you know, it's just an amazing story, and it should inspire a lot of Americans, man.
And what I liked about the story was I liked the storytelling of the Defiant Ones because it kind of puts you and immerse you in the minds of Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, and you kind of got the veil was removed, and you got to see the flawed character and the mistakes and this and that. Because Dr. Dre really doesn't do that many interviews, and Jimmy Iovine I know don't do any interviews because
they don't need to at this point.
And they talked. And the thing that was crazy about the interview was the producer of it was saying that it took them a year to persuade Jimmy Iovine to even do the show, and it's amazing to see the history that he brings to the rap game for a person who did not understand the rap game from what we've seen on a documentary, and just to see what he has worked with, you know, Stevie Nicks to Bono and, you know, to Tom Petty, and just to see that he worked with this whole nother genre and how he was able to just pull music forward in the 90s, because I didn't know Interscope was such a powerhouse, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
And see, that's the thing that people don't understand about it. Not to jump in, but I'll do a little old man spot here right now.
Go forward.
The thing about it that makes it so interesting, and I'm so glad that you brought it up in the way that you did, is because, you know, I'm a big history guy. You can tell by the way I run my mouth on these shows. I love to appreciate the history of all things. It doesn't really matter what it is, but when it comes to that particular documentary, the thing that people don't really understand, and it's so ironic that it comes out now in this documentary, is that one of the things that was fought for so much for so long by the hip hop and rap community was the fact that they had to buck the stigma of just being quote unquote a fad. Nobody took them seriously. At that time, people didn't think about rap as music. Like literally, they did not categorize it as music. It was just rap. It was just that fad. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't approach it that way. They didn't appreciate it that way. They didn't look at it that way. A big part of that was, oh, well, you know, you guys don't even make your own music. You know, you take this song and you take this beat, you take this and that. But it took time for people to realize and understand, number one, how much of an art form it is to have enough of an ear to be able to pick up those interpolations and those cuts of break beats and stuff like that, and be able to weave them together into those wonderful sonic symphonies that we get so much thrill out of now. But on top of that, you got people that once they approached it and took it serious as a music industry, a music brand, a music business, started making a fucking ton of money off of it. It was one of those things that they will never sit and be ballsy enough, I'll say, for lack of a better term, to claim their part in it. But Jimmy Iovine and his ability, almost to a racial sense, if you want to embrace that pun of it,
Mhm.
looked past the
That's
category or the
color.
designation of it and just looked at it as music, not as rap,
Exactly.
but as music. And the world was forced to adjust their way of looking at it because he made a product and he put out a brand that was so infectious, so popular, so catchy. You were either going to get in or you were going to go bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
That was your only options.
And I just
Be-
and I love what he did was with Dr. Dre with him bringing in that mindset of he made Dr. Dre when he did that G Funk and the way Jimmy Iovine kind of pushed it, it kind of galvanized people because people kind of looked past the color or what the racial tensions that was going on back there, and they just saw the music for what it was. It's like I can really get
Everybody in the
down to
world
this.
listened to funk music.
I can get down with this. Like I can go out to a cookout. I can sit at my at the house and
And
just
see,
clean up the
that's,
house
yeah,
and just
exactly. That's the hook because we sit and think sometimes when we think of funkadelic, Parliament, George Clinton, stuff like that. We think of that as black music, but when you
Mhm.
go and we talk to our parents and grandparents who were actually around when that stuff was first coming out, everybody was listening to that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
That was like their version almost of what pop music is to us
It's
today. That
today.
was that crossover. Everybody listens to. I know white dudes stuff like that. They can pop out
Pop
George
lock
Clinton lyrics and stuff like that faster than we can.
Bro, when
Just like
Dr.
I
Dre
know
was
my
pop locking
when he
on
was
that
pop
oh
locking, and
bruh,
I
bruh,
was killing Dre,
and like he was
killing
trying to
Dre.
do it for the win,
Hey,
homie.
he
Like it
was
was like
in.
it was money on the
Did you see
line.
him
hey, he was
slide
about
back
to.
into the line though, dude?
Hey, he was killing it, and he was killing it.
Hey,
I can't lie. He
like
was
it was
killing
like
it.
his pride was on the line. Like, hey, somebody is gonna see this and they gonna clown me, motherfucker, if I'm not
When
on
I
point with
seen
this
that
shit. Hold
shit,
on.
that I said Dre taking this shit serious.
He
Like when that
Hey,
nigga say I'm
it's the
about to
culture. It's the culture.
he did it
People
for the
didn't know,
culture.
man. When you into it, when you deep like that, when you love it like that, man, hey, it don't matter what it is. If you just gonna sit, give them a little pop and lock, or I might be too old, my knees might be mad, but I'll give y'all a little bit of this little talk rock, you know what I'm saying? I'll give you a little something just to let you know that I'm
go
still with
feel
it.
me.
But
Go
yeah,
feel
you're not gonna sit there and flake out on it. Because
You feel
somebody
me?
will clown
Hey, and you know what? Also, I like that in the '90s, Interscope really controlled honestly the major categories of the music genre with rap with Death Row and Dr. Dre and Tupac with the pop world that he had No Doubt, and then he had the rock world. He had Marilyn Manson and Nine Inch Nails, so he was conquering all. So they
Yeah.
was running shit back then, and I didn't even
and they
know
were
that.
the perfect foil because the thing about it was you had things that were going on and it was pretty much regional.
Hmm.
The major players that you had at that time, you had Interscope that was doing their thing, you had Def Jam that was doing their thing and their subsidiaries, and then you had
Bad boy.
Uptown, which was a spinoff that resulted because Andre Harrell, like you saw in the Notorious movie, it could only be one big dog in the jungle, so he had to let his young assistant Sean Combs go, and he started his own company,
Hmm.
Bad Boy. But
Mm-hmm.
you got that from Uptown. People forget Uptown Records was doing a lot of things back
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
then,
sir.
man, with
They
the
set
Mary
up.
J stuff like that. They was setting the tone
They sure
for that
did.
East Coast hip hop R&B vibe and stuff like that. And then a slight shout out to the hot 3, 4, 5 year window that Biv 10 Records and Michael Bivins and them had because they cut their own little niche in there. You wouldn't have had the Boys to Men's, the ABCs, stuff like that for that. The BVDs, that section of the hip hop and R&B
Music.
world, but
Hmm.
Interscope, man, anything pretty much past the Mississippi River was Interscope
Mm-hmm.
And I
going
didn't even
west.
know that. And I
You
didn't even
know,
know that.
they had that all on lock and they had so much crossover appeal and stuff like that. They were automatically going to get the win from the South on the low because people didn't realize, but once they found out that the DLC was from Dallas, well, that was a wrap. You had all of Texas then, just like off GP. Uh, Anything that wasn't held up by Rap a Lot, who was still coming into their own at the time, and they weren't known as a major player
Player.
nationally.
Hmm.
They were major in Texas, but they weren't a major player nationally yet. So as far as anybody was concerned, well, anything west of the Mississippi was Interscope, and I mean, damn, all of the talent that they had going through Interscope and its subsidiaries, not only, and I mean, you can just talk about rap, but even going through rap and then going up and going through rock, you got your pop music, your techno, they had it going on in so many different directions, and that was the thing that made them so dangerous is you could go through and say, well, oh, we're gonna make sure that Death Row takes this L, but at the end of the day, Death Row was
You
backed
still getting them.
by super dudes.
Getting
You
it
know what
up.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, they're gonna win on the back end because you got us, that's right. But we're gonna call Jimmy and them. We're gonna redo this redistribution deal, and we're gonna still sell 20 million worldwide. So take
Exactly.
your battle. We're gonna win this war. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
and then
amazing the way that they work that out.
yeah, that documentary, man, it really took me back, and
It's
I think it
awesome,
was
man.
one of the it should honestly, it should be one of the it should win an Oscar. I mean, if you want to be serious about it.
They put it together well. They told the story, and I feel like a lot of people got more insight on. I know people seen NWA or whatever. They probably read some
Oh no, it's a
geography
history
books,
lesson
but
though. It's a history lesson though.
it's
You
like
learn so much more about
yeah,
stuff around them that was outside of that immediate
yeah,
world of rap and NWA and Death Row. You learn about, a lot of those stories that you don't hear about as far as a lot of people didn't realize because they were
Yeah,
so
the
caught
girl
up
group.
off the name that Dre was taking L's after he left Death Row immediately. That Aftermath
mhm,
was damn near a
yeah.
complete bust
And he
after
couldn't
he
push his
left Death
Yeah,
Row.
he could
that first album was a flop. My pops had
Yeah,
got.
I still have
I was
that
like,
man,
album.
that
I
shit
still
was
have that
trash.
album.
what the?
That shit was really
It has
trash,
like
man.
2 songs on it, and that's it.
That's it.
And
My pops was so pissed when the album.
And you know what he said? And Dr. Dre said it best, man. He said, "I'm so damn lucky because these people really came in his life, and
Mm-hmm.
he had the talent. Because like Dre wouldn't be as big as he was, as bad as we want to say it. He had the producer thing down packed, the
Mm-hmm.
engineering and all that. But DLC wrote a whole bunch for Dre. He kind of made the sound for Dre.
Yeah.
DOC practically wrote the entire Chronic
Chronic
album.
album,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And you got to give love to that. Then Snoop,
DOC was writing all of their shit when
When
Ice Cube
Cube left,
left
yeah,
from
after Cube left.
NWA.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna.
He took on everybody.
DOC low key sacrificed a lot of his solo career
Personal
to
shit,
keep
yeah.
those
Exactly.
groups
Keep them
afloat.
afloat, yeah. Yeah.
Now he made his cash, and he's still making his cash and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
it's
they
not
gonna
like he's
break them
getting
out
shorted.
for it.
He
But it
getting his
was just
coin.
one of those things that he could have just said, "Fuck it," like Cube, and just been like, "Well, shit, I'm gonna just go out and do my thing and be hot. I
Yeah,
got rhymes."
if he would have took off like Cube, they really would have been fucked, bro.
Hey,
And
they've
then
been
there's
really
a funny
fucking.
thing about that with them, man. Dre, much like a lot of people, we get into those spur of the moments and sometimes we romanticize. People don't understand, man. And it's another one of those great conversations, but people don't understand how close Jay-Z was to being considered a flop.
If it
Because
wasn't for Biggie dying, because when
his first album, when it came out, a lot of folks didn't like it. Didn't really get celebrated like it does now. Now it's considered a classic. When it first came out, a lot of people weren't checking for it. I loved it because it was just in my wheelhouse. I'm an East Coast rap type dude.
that
But
reasonable doubt, you
Jay-Z
mean, right?
really didn't, yeah, Jay-Z didn't really jump off until Hard Knock Life.
Yeah,
Literally, that song saved his career.
and then I still think the passing of Biggie really
Oh, well,
galvanized New
it
York
opened
to
up a void that
unify.
he didn't
Yeah,
have to, he kind of grooved his way into because the other part about that too, and I'm a firm believer, and folks don't understand that. Jay-Z and Biggie had love for each other and they was comrades and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, they were label opponents. And if you don't think Rockefeller and Bad Boy would have went head up if Biggie would have still been alive, you are crazy.
yes,
That was
sir.
going to be inevitable. They were going to bump heads. They were going to battle each other.
You got to give a respect to that boy Jay-Z. But yeah, this
Oh yeah.
documentary was
Oh yeah.
amazing, and I love the business moves being made behind the scene and just the intertwining of the way they would
Man,
just
I'm
tell
glad
the
Jimmy
story.
Iovine talked Dre into not making them damn sneakers and made speakers. Shit. I
Man,
mean,
Yeah,
I
that's
know, right?
you talk about a great roll of the dice. Oh my
woo!
God.
And his marketing push on beats alone was just genius
Genius.
in its
Phenomenal.
own.
Phenomenal. Like he was psychic, man. It was like, dude, how
How
could you
did you
even have
know?
possibly known that it
He
would
would
be like this?
He would literally, and I was just crazy. Like, who would thought that? Let me just go to market my product. Let me just go talk to the everyday people I deal with these artists, and like, hey, do you mind taking a picture with these headphones on, and
Hmm.
just getting so many people
Hmm.
to do that and
Eminem
pushing
was
that
so
shit?
pissed about that. Every time we
Hmm.
did a video, man, he'd always make us
We
stop
pushing
and
that
take these
shit.
shots again with these headphones on. I'm like, man, fuck these headphones.
You didn't know.
Yeah,
Hey, you
yeah,
see what
okay.
he was doing?
Yeah,
Billions,
exactly.
Yeah.
billions.
He
Eminem was
did.
like, yeah, man, I'm so sorry, man. I didn't know. I was stupid.
I
My,
shouldn't.
my
I
bad.
should have.
My bad.
I shouldn't have been trying to drop that shady brand, and I should have been
You know
dropping
what
me
I'm
some.
saying?
I know, right, man?
Although he was smart enough to listen on the back end, he got himself a radio station out of it, so
Oh,
I'm
he
not
did.
mad
He
at
did.
him either. He got him at Shade
Billions off of that.
45, so I ain't
Yes,
tripping.
sir.
Definitely, man. That's something I may have to run back through one day. If I'm bored, I may run back through it. I mean, like I say, it was a good history.
I'm gonna go back. Yeah, I'm gonna go
Man,
back and rock
but
that.
don't sleep, fellas. I will tell you from personal collection, there are so many hip hop and rap documentaries that don't get a lot of pub that
Oh
will
yeah,
teach you so much, man.
Netflix alone has
So
two,
much.
two or
Oh
three.
man, they got quite a bit. You just gotta
The
dig and try
organized
to
noise
find.
one is
Yeah, the art of
amazing.
organized noise is phenomenal.
Yes,
If
sir.
you want to go back old school and then get into all the aspects of hip hop, you can start off with the originals like
Evolution,
Wild Style. Uh, the
the
Evolution
evolution
of
of
Hip Hop
hip
is
hop.
another good show. One on the Low for people that grew up liking to dance and do the b-boy b-girl thing. There's a documentary called The Freshest Kids that basically talks about the history of breakdancing and b-boying, from people dancing on cardboard boxes and linoleum patches in the middle of New York City streets to the way that it's an international phenomenon now. It's an awesome documentary, but there's so much stuff that you can learn about the totality of hip hop and people don't understand. Get into all of the elements, man. Rap is not hip hop. Rap is a part of hip hop. Rapping, MCing, graffiti, dancing, the culture, the fashion. Those are all things that make up what you know as hip hop. It's not just somebody rapping on a microphone. That's a
It's a
part
whole
of it.
vibe.
When it first started, the dude rapping on the microphone, nobody cared about. The only thing you cared about when you was going to a hip hop set was who was the DJ, who was
Hmm.
spinning, who was dropping the beats. That was and to a certain extent still is the most important man when it comes to hip hop. It's just manifested in different ways and in different splinters because we look at it, but Dr. Dre started off as a DJ. He ain't started off as a producer.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, when you get to the barest essence of it, it still goes that way, man. All the top cats that you think about, the Timberlands, the Swiss Beats, the Khaled's, the Kid Capri's, the Clues, they all started off as DJs.
No doubt, man. Let me tell you somebody who gonna need a DJ when they're gonna throw this party, man.
Uh
Les
oh.
Les Alexander.
Yes, sir. He about to eat
He don't need
billions.
no DJ. He don't need no DJ.
He don't need nobody.
He'll be making the defiant ones after he signed.
All I need is a track in the background.
And a lot of people's uproar about the whole, and I understand. Like I see both sides of it. From left side of it, I paid 85 million from it. I did everything possible in this community. I brought this team their first.
Man, I brought you rings. I brought you notoriety. I brought you swag. I got you this fabulous center downtown.
Got the global side.
Yeah.
Like they
literally are one of the top 5 most popular teams in the world, and they are the most popular team in China. Yeah. People don't know that.
So then you factor in his age and the fact that he's done everything he can for Houston. It's time for that change, and it's the perfect time. I mean, you got one star locked up. You already got
could have kept the comments for a little while longer though, but I ain't gonna. I ain't gonna go there. I'm gonna leave that alone.
I mean, look at the WNBA now and see if he made a bad decision.
Sorry, though the comments still could have won a couple of more titles before he decided to live.
He made a good business decision.
It's all good.
Just like he doing the best business. Hey, he sold them after they got all their championships. Now he's selling the Rockets at.
I'm just being salty because I missed the comments. It's one of the few Houston teams that I actually cheered for.
We all missed the comments. We all missed the comments, man. But
shout out to Cynthia Cooper, Kim Parrott, rest in peace, Tina Thompson, Miss Swoops, getting it in. That Fearsome Foursome was a beast, baby.
They
shout out to that. Shout out to that lipstick too. Yeah. Shout out to that lipstick. I heard you. I'm
gonna let y'all continue with y'all WNBA talk because I sure wasn't watching no comics. So
what?
Dude, I'm so mad at you for that.
Hey man,
it was nothing going on in the summer.
You know what? I'll put it to you like this, fam. They were what the Golden State Warriors are right now, like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm gonna ask you this. So when were they winning?
What you
mean?
They
won the first 4 championships when the WNBA started. They won the first 4 in a row.
Listen, what years were they winning?
98, 99, 2001.
I was 8, 9, and 10. I was watching.
That was the perfect time for you to watch it.
I was watching Power Rangers and
Man,
Justice
I can still remember watching Jordan last game.
Bro, I was running summer camps at the YMCA. I was taking kids your age to the Comets games all summer.
I was not checking for sports at that age. I was worrying about what I was going to eat that night. I was going to worry about getting up in the morning and watching my Saturday morning cartoons.
Come on, man. I'm guessing you're a late bloomer, but bro,
I told you I was a late bloomer, man. man.
I was
checking
watching
sports.
back then, bro.
Like I wasn't jamming Jay-Z and all them back in the day. I'm telling you, I had a kid's life. If you would look back on my life and you say, "Damn, Marcus really lived a kid's fucking life," I didn't grow up until
But
like
you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
She had the 5 CD changer from Circuit City. Bro. I was on the CD.
You know what I'm saying?
That nigga was on CDs.
Circuit City up in the seats, homie.
Circuit City, baby. You know what I'm saying? That's what we want.
So your hot 5 in, put it on random. You was riding out all day.
Hey, we was jamming Whitney Houston, Anita Baker, and probably Luther Vandross in my house, and that's all we played.
What's wrong with that?
Hey, wasn't nothing wrong with that, but I didn't even get introduced until to rap until later on because my parents wasn't rocking with that.
See, they wasn't having this shit.
I got introduced to rap by default because I grew up in New York City, and it was literally impossible for you to escape that shit.
I understand.
Trust me. If it wasn't for that, it wasn't like it got played in my house. You know what I'm saying? I came up with nothing but old school R&B, funk, jazz, classical. People laugh at me about that all the time. Like in my car, I listen to everything from Chuck Mangione to Tchaikovsky to Ella Fitzgerald stuff. Like I listen to all music, but that comes up from that background and the fact that I didn't just streamline myself into one thing. That's why I say it's not a bad thing. It's great that you grew up with a more diverse background because it makes you appreciate everything even more. Yeah. A lot of these kids miss out on that, in my opinion, because they are allowed to just sit and pick and choose just off sight unseen or off of what somebody tells them instead of actually taking the chance to like expand your mind and actually give something to try. And then, you know, because you'll hear kids nowadays, I know you guys have heard folks younger and you'll tell them, you know, about an artist that you figured that everybody would know. And they'd be like, nah, I ain't never heard him. Be like, how the hell could you not have heard of them? Like, what the hell do you listen to that you never heard of? You know what I'm saying? You just had them moments like you low key want to hit them, but it's like they didn't do nothing wrong, so I can't hit them, but I want to hit you, but not even knowing.
But let me tell you, man, I went to. This is a funny story. When I was in Huntsville when I went to Sam Houston, I hung out with one of my friends and a couple of his people. And it was some white people, and they were trying to talk about some country person, and I was like, I don't know who the hell that is, and they all looked at me crazy like I was fucking out of my mind.
Please don't tell me it was like Garth Brooks or somebody.
No, it wasn't nobody popular. It was some like super just underrated person.
Don't tell me like Toby Keith or Randy Travis or something like that. Because
nobody that I knew. And then I happened to say, well, okay, then how about this? Do y'all know who Kendrick Lamar was? And this was the time when Kendrick started really popping off. They was like, I don't know who that is. I said, then shut the fuck up then. I'm just like,
we even, bitches. Turn the channel.
That's what I'm saying. Should have walked out that.
I think when Drake dropped his first mixtape, I was my people like, who the hell is Drake? You didn't watch what show was he on? Degrassi?
Degrassi?
Like,
you didn't watch? Hey, they got my old ass with that one because I was like, what the fuck is Degrassi? And why should I have been watching it? That shit don't even sound like something cool to watch. You know what I'm saying?
So they just disappointed me the whole time. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, it took one of my younger homeboys to be like, hey, nigga, listen to this. And they played the first time I heard Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. I was like, never mind. Thank you for letting me know. I'm cool now. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I got put on to that. I don't know what fucking Drake song but I was not checking for no Grassy on fucking Teen.
Yeah, they kept saying he was on TV. He was on TV. I was like, okay, I'll take your word for it, but you gave me the mixtape, so I don't need to watch that bullshit. I'm good.
Is he on ABC or is he on Fox? Where
they get mad? I was
like, so it's like Nickelodeon. I said, bitch, I'm grown. How the fuck am I? You talking about Nick at Night, like the adult Nick, nigga, or like Nick, like Green Slime Nick? I can't do Green Slime Nick.
Bro, then I begged on the action say, so is he handicapped for real or he just in a wheelchair?
Exactly. You mean to tell me they got this broke down nigga make a mixtape? This motherfucker's off the chain.
This nigga rolling up to the studio.
Like he's literally rolling on the track, homie. Y'all don't understand.
Cut that shit on. Cut that shit on right now. That shit
you can hear the wheels. You can hear the wheels. Listen to it. You can hear the wheels squeak when he's getting hyped.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not rock with Degrassi, but damn, that was funny.
That shit was hilarious.
But yeah, the Rockets, man, I heard
he deserved it, man. He deserved it.
Man, at the end of the day, if anybody is stupid enough to feel some kind of way about that man reaping the benefits of all the time, money, and heartache that he done invested in trying to bring this city a winner, then they can kill themselves. They can go through and scrounge up some money and try to buy it themselves. Ain't nobody got time for that, man. That man has been here through thick and thin, through hell and high water.
24 years, man.
Other teams and other owners have gone through and bailed out on other organizations here. He still held it down for the city. And I'm not a Rockets fan, and I'll still give that man enough respect to understand what it takes to go through and to sit and ride it out for that long and try to do everything that it takes. It's not like the man just sat on his hands, Didn't spend no money. Didn't try to get no talent in
Oh, he
here.
was always
He's had some of the
spending
best
money?
players in the
Oh.
world on Rockets
Yeah,
teams
he was
trying to
blowing
go through and
money.
make it happen. It didn't always work out his way. He had early success when he first got him, like the second, third year that he had the Rockets
No,
when they won
his
the
first
title.
year. His first
Yeah.
year. First
And
year.
he went through. He got hot early,
the
but
Twin Towers.
unfortunately, things just didn't work out for him with the moves he made later on down the road. He still kept them in contention every so often. They weren't as consistent,
He did everything
unfortunately.
for the community that
Yeah,
you
he,
can ever
you
want an
know,
owner to do.
you couldn't help but not see the Rockets everywhere in the city
Mm-hmm.
for the entirety of his ownership. They've always maintained a significant presence in this community, and that's also to be commended. Whether they were 0-82 or 82-0, you still had them going out, making themselves known in the community, putting forth the effort, going out and doing the other side of what it takes to be a celebrity or being famous or being an influencer as an athlete. And I commend him
He
for
did
that.
all that without embarrassing the city one time.
Exactly. You never heard Les getting caught up with no
Never.
drugs, no scandal, no nothing, none of that stuff. He was a good owner. He may not have been agreeable with some folks because they didn't get that winner like they always did, but I mean that's every owner. So it's not like he did anything outside of the ordinary or unnecessarily egregious to make you hate his guts. But at the end of the day, he served this city, he served this organization, and he served the community very well. I wish the man all the best. Go home and lay down on that $1 billion bed and do whatever the hell you want. You know what I'm saying? You earned that.
The only thing I was sad about is to seeing him leave at the height of the Rockets. I feel like after all this hard work, I wish he would have just chilled just for a little while and just enjoyed the success.
Well, he may know something that you don't know. He might be like, y'all all hyped about it, but these motherfuckers is going to suck this year. I'm just saying.
Hey, don't you say nothing like that.
I'm sorry, my bad.
From a potential standpoint, if you're trying to sell something, you want it to be at the
you gotta sell while the stock is high, baby. You sell high, buy low, sell high.
You're coming off a 55-win season when you didn't have two superstars. Now you have two superstars,
what?
and
I just got you Chris Paul too. Yeah. What y'all want to do? What they hitting for? Can I get 2.6? Holla at your boy.
Got a franchise for 6 years. You got a Hall of Fame point guard, and you possibly could be bringing in another superstar player.
You know what I'm saying? Hey. I'm throwing in a Gucci belt, some flip flops, and a Louis V backpack to go with that shit. Holla at your boy. I got gift certificates for Frenchies. You can get, however you want to do it, baby. I got you.
That nigga said Frenchies, man.
Unlimited passes to the Red Rooster. Get it how you live, baby. What you want to do? What you want to do? I heard all the spots, homie. I got you in all the spots.
I heard
Mattress less
by the team.
There's so many people, man.
I've seen Dikembe and Yao Ming say they may team up. Tillman Fertitta say he want to get back. I feel sad. I feel bad for him. He missed out on the team by $4 million. Now, if he want him, he's gonna have to pay
that.
Well, now the best report that came out today is that low key, Mr. Morey is trying to get together with some investors.
They shut that down. I seen that, but they shut that down quick.
I would have went for that one more than anything else. Only person I know that want the Rockets to do good as much as Les Alexander is Daryl Morey.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
You're right, but you have a point. Hey, but then again,
you put that money mine and the way that he knows how to work that cap with the fact that he would be even more excited to do it the right way because it would be his money. It's a pretty good match.
That is,
but that's just me. I
like the fact. I like the stuff the knowledge you dropping right now.
I think that he would be a good owner. Honestly, I mean, the way that he functions, the way that he kind of does it as a GM, you almost think that he owns the team. Mm-hmm. He acts like he owns the team. I mean, it's not a bad way to go about doing it.
That's the one good thing about Les. He sit back and let
niggas have control.
And let the Rockets run as a business, So.
I think that Daryl Morey and them moving forward with whoever it is that takes over the team are probably going to miss that because I don't think the next person that comes down the pipe is going to be that hands off and
at least Les is like giving them, all right, who do y'all want to own? He giving them
financial. Yeah. It's not going to be a thing of just throwing it away to anybody that comes up with the cash.
They're going to mess around and get an old head. They're going to get somebody who's that's why when I heard Mattress Mac name getting thrown around, I was like, you know what? That wouldn't be too thrown off because he has been a supporter for a while.
Tied into this city or to this team because the one thing you guys don't want is for that money bag to drop out from somewhere you don't know because I guarantee you they will be going to Seattle before you know it.
Man, but the good thing is Les already got a clause in the contract that say they can't move the team to at least 2033. So
well shit, that's good.
16 years with the Rockets at least. So
that's rock with it hard.
There we go.
I ain't mad at it.
Let's get into some controversial comments from our man, or at least my man, Michael Vick. Very disappointed in him, dude.
Very disappointed.
It pains me because this is a guy who went through the one of the best redemption stories of all time, was able to get back into the league, was able to get back that same contract and had an MVP performance. And what got the nerve to tell somebody they need to cut their hair to change their image, bro? You was running around here with cornrows before.
Well, they got the highest, and got the highest paid contract back in the day, and you trying to tell somebody that they need to reshape their image and cut their hair, but it's like,
and they got nothing to do with it. We just seen Dan Orlovsky get signed before Colin Kaepernick.
Dan Orlovsky, good old Ron Mexico trying to drop that knowledge, that good old knowledge.
And I get mad that we live in society. And I liked how everybody kind of sweeping this story under the rug, but I kind of wish this would get more light because we live in a generation or in a time where the way you look is glorified more than what you know. Because a lot of these businesses and jobs, when you go in for interviews, they want the black people to have the well-cut hair and not have no facial hair and stuff like this. But I see Joe Blow walking down the hallway, having a beard, but it's a problem that I have a beard. It's like, why should it matter how I look as long as I'm dressing professionally and I'm doing my job? It shouldn't matter if I'm rocking some dreads or something like that because it doesn't mess up my performance. And the same applies to Colin Kaepernick. And Michael Vick should know that the way he tried to renege and say to come out today and
2
say
days in a row. 2 days.
I don't like it.
He did a half-ass apology yesterday, then going to apologize today. Like, come on, bro.
Like, exactly what you were saying. Exactly you were on thin ice on what you were saying with Colin Kaepernick because the backlash that everybody already speak for yourself gets enough attention just for the buffoonery of fucking Jason Whitlock. So for you to sit up there and hype this nigga up and piggyback off this nigga and make it seem like whatever Colin Kaepernick doing is such a threat to the fucking national the NFL, it's just it blows my fucking mind. And for you to say that he needs to reshape his image, he's not a criminal, he's not a thug, he ain't trying to make no noise. This is the same dude who was just embraced damn near 4 or 5 years ago when he was going to the Super Bowl for his tattoos, and they were saying, oh, he's changing the quarterback position. So now it's a problem that this nigga running around with a fucking fro that niggas want to fucking have a problem with, and I have a problem with that, and it's so annoying. And I wish
it's a problem because this is the type of anger that Jason Whitlock gets me every time I hear his fucking. I just get pissed off because this is what's wrong with sports media right now. Because you take the black man and you hire him to break down the other black man. Whenever it's white people issues, you don't see Jason Whitlock.
Not saying nothing.
His ass in the back. Colin Cowherd talking. Or they got Skip Bayless talking. They may chime in from Shannon Sharp. But Jason Whitlock only come out when it's black people that's doing some negative shit out here, or what they deem as negative shit at FS1. That shit pisses me off.
And you see, Jason Whitlock fat ass ain't never on Undisputed because he knows Shannon Sharp is
Shannon
is great friends with Colin Kaepernick, and he ain't having that shit. And Jason Whitlock, he's the type of dude who says ignorant shit, and you have to think to yourself, does this nigga believe the shit that he says? It's a guy that I work with, and that I just started working with in a new position as a black guy. And we were talking about business corporations and how they try to make money off of everybody else's misfortune, like health companies and stuff like that, how they take advantage of it. And he had the nerve to sit back and say that I don't think business try to take advantage of people. Nigga, what are you living in? Do you not think business try to take advantage of people? Are you serious about that? Do you not see why the record labels are having these fucking mishaps and shit that's going on? Is these business taking advantage of people? And I just feel like there's something wrong with that. But back to what I was talking with Colin Kaepernick, I personally think he's better than all the backups and about 8, maybe 10 fucking.
It's 100 quarterbacks that's going to be in camp over the next couple of weeks. That's going to be starting camp.
And that nigga
all of them are better than Kaepernick. Come on, bro.
Let's go ahead and hear it, Marcus. I know you was ready for it.
Here's my thing. I'm not going to necessarily embrace it from a football standpoint because for me, I'm going to do what, and this is key, I'm going to do what I feel Colin would want me to do as it pertains to this situation.
Okay.
And it's this. First and foremost, Mr. Michael Vick, I still love you very much. You are still one of my favorite players to watch play, even though you destroyed my soul and broke my heart by
twice.
Beating my Packers in Lambeau for the first time ever. But it was magnificent watching you rip my heart out. I love the redemption story. I love all the stuff that you've been through and getting to where you are. I also love the intent with which you said what you said. I know where your heart was, but I know that sometimes the heart, mind, mouth triangle don't really work
Don't
the
work out.
same way.
When Jason
Here's
Witten was
my
right there.
thing with Michael Vick. With Michael Vick, I know where your heart was at, but understand there's a time and place for everything to be said. That was not the venue. That was not the place for you to say that because that was something that they were just waiting on you to do. Um,
Mhm.
that was music to their ears because it got them ratings, it got them controversy, and
Mm-hmm.
you
Clicks,
know,
clickbait.
it's basically clickbait. It's one of those things.
Hmm.
Mike, your situation is similar, barely, but not comparable to what Colin Kaepernick has gone through. Because
Mm-hmm.
again, like Shannon Sharp and many others have said, Colin Kaepernick has committed no crime. Colin Kaepernick did not lie to the white people that he worked for and make them look like fools on national TV and in front of the federal government. Uh, Colin Kaepernick has committed no federal crime other than, I guess, interpreting the law the way that it's supposed to and exercising his
His
First Amendment
rights.
rights. Uh, so, yes, it's similar in the fact that you guys are both colored, you both played quarterback, and you both took a tumble from being the golden child or potential faces of the league at one point. But that's about where the similarities end.
That's it.
Uh, I also have another issue as it pertains in this whole little situation with this faux pas and people wanting to go through and interpret things for Colin Kaepernick because I love the fact that Colin really hasn't spoken on any of this stuff because he's really not paying attention to it because he's too busy walking like he talks it and is addressing the issues that he started protesting for in the first place.
Hmm.
One of the big things that kind of gets to me, and it's a lot of things that, it's one of those things that's kind of divisive, is the whole, well, if Colin don't get no job, then I ain't watching no football this year. I'm not supporting the NFL, this, that, and the other. If that's what you choose to do, that's fine. But let's deal in some realities and let's make sure that we're fully understood before we go off on this little tirade. One, if you're just a prisoner of the moment activist, you're an internet independent, woke, aware preacher of the consciousness, great. But try to stay in your lane because you're dealing with what
Stay in your
basically
lane.
amounts to fantasy land. Let's all be understood and very clear and very adult about the fact that if every black person and I'm going to be as frank about this as possible. Let's say every black person in America gets together, we walk it like we talk it, and if Colin doesn't get hired, we boycott the NFL. We don't watch, we don't buy anything and stuff like that. How much money do you think that the NFL is actually going to lose?
Not a lot. None of this, if any.
And this is
Shit,
my problem.
who you think
Two
the season
things
ticket
have to happen. Two things have to happen. Number one, if you really want to affect change in that regard by public display of unfairness or disgust at a situation or something like that, well, we can get together and do our thing, gentlemen, but I need Khalil Mack and I need Cam Newton and I
Mm-hmm.
need I need high
Russell Wilson.
profile black players to threaten to boycott if Kaepernick does not get fair treatment and go through the hiring process. Because the NFL doesn't really care about us not
The little
contributing a
people.
dollar because there's more of everybody else that's going to come out there in droves to see that same product. They're not going to lose any money that way.
Nope.
If you really want to affect change and voice your displeasure with the way that Colin is being treated and the fact that this man is sacrificing his livelihood and something that he loves in pursuit of something that he just found out that he loves more, your direct line of change, open up your wallet and contribute to everything that he's doing. Contribute to his programs, contribute to his Know Your Rights program, contribute to his donatable funds that he distributes out to all of these charities that he's doing right now. If
Mm-hmm.
you are upset about the fact that he could go broke because he's standing up for something, then help him not go broke.
Exactly.
But then it's going to be an issue because now all these folks that talk big and grand and, oh, well, we don't need to do any of that. Well, I mean, hey, you can act like you want to be about the change or you can be about the change.
That's it. It's two options.
It's one of those things. When he first came out with his programs and stuff like that, you have people donating. I threw in the little pennies that I could. I will be continuing to donate throughout the entire NFL season for Kaepernick's charitable funds for his Know Your Rights programs and stuff like that because for my money, for the awesome job that this young man is doing all throughout communities in California and stuff like that, well, my state needs some of that too. I would love to be able to get Colin Kaepernick to come out here and speak at some of these schools and speak to some of these youths out here so they can
Exactly.
actually see this man that they hear so much about. It's one thing to hear about stuff or see stuff virally, but we're so jaded. But it's another thing to a little kid right now if they could actually see this man standing in front of him, talking to them, letting them know what's going on, see what this guy is all about. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Not just going off of what you hear or what they tell you on social media or on TV or through the internet. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those kinds of things. If you really want to affect change for this man, if you really want to represent, in my opinion, only my opinion, if you really want to affect that change and represent everything that you think that Colin is going through and fighting so hard about, invest in Colin.
Yeah.
Hmm. And honestly, I would love to. I know this may not happen. I would love to see an interview from him, a good sit down
Yo,
interview.
man, if we kept tweeting him all the time, man, I'm sure that he's gonna answer somebody eventually.
Yeah, man.
Why not? Why not us,
I'm telling you, man. I'll tweet it. I would love to talk to Colin Kaepernick
bruh?
just to get
Why?
his stance
Why
on.
not us?
Hey, we can might as well just shoot him a message and see what's going on. But
Yo,
I like
man, we can
asking
shoot him
him
a
more.
message, see if we got to get a certain number of retweets, or see if we can, help him out with a fundraiser, make a donation, if it'll be enough to get an interview or get a sound bite or something,
Give
a
me 5
quick
minutes.
YouTube
No, I
video.
definitely,
You know what I'm saying?
I'll reach out to him. I had told Mark I reached out to Vince Young. He ain't reached back to me yet. I'm gonna keep blowing him up. He gonna give me this interview.
Oh, you gonna give me this interview? I
God
want to
damn
know
it.
if you like Jerry
Uh,
Fisher
an
for real.
interview with an interview with Vince Young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it. I
With
didn't wrote him. I didn't wrote him 3 times already.
interview with Vince.
Mm-hmm.
You a Vince fan?
I actually, the year that he was drafted for an independent magazine, wrote an article about Vince that was very heartfelt and warm and
Nice.
encouraging. I loved watching the young man play all the way
I
through
do
his middle
too.
school and high school years. I was a little concerned for him when he got to the college level because I know how that college process is. And along the way, there was a lot of miscommunications and I think missed opportunities on both sides, both with the people that were supposed to be teaching him and
Man,
with
they
him
they they didn't
supposedly
look out.
being,
They didn't look out for him.
well,
And
neither
that's
nobody looked out for anybody because if Vince was that concerned about it, then Vince probably would have dedicated himself a little bit more, in my opinion, to studying and developing himself off of more than just being a wonderfully gifted instinctual quarterback and jumped in that film room, learned how to break down those
yeah.
defenses and stuff like that.
That rookie
Um,
year went too well for him, and that was the most
Well,
scary.
it was just a
The most scary part.
microcosm of everything that went on for him in his college years and stuff like that. Vince never got coached in college. Vince got out there and
Played
Matt
This
Brown
ball.
said, "Hey, baby,
Played
go
ball.
out there and get me a win." And that's what he did. And he was extraordinary. He's one of the best college quarterbacks that I've ever seen.
Oh,
Ever.
all time. Ever.
Ever.
can I? Can I? As we let me get back to the Colin Kaepernick thing right quick. I like it that we live in a time, or it seems like we live in a time where African Americans are starting to unify just a tad bit more than I've seen. I don't know if it's just I'm just becoming more aware or being, my eyes have been open. Just, I'm not gonna say I was being woke. I feel like
Yeah, that's tacky. I
I
understand what
feel
you're
like it's,
saying.
but I just feel like there's a connective thing going on where I just see black people starting to like. It used to be black people were too bougie, like unapproachable, or we love to judge, or we love to say this, or we were too distant. But it seemed like I can talk to you, like even though that you from the hood and stuff like that, I can sympathize with you. I can see your struggle now, or you can understand that even though don't look like you, but I can we can go through the same struggle. It just seems like we starting to come together a little bit, and I'm
Well,
hoping that.
a couple of things that goes to contribute to that, brother of mine, is first and foremost that double-edged sword that we call technology. We
Hmm.
have access to each other in ways that we've never had before as a generation in the history of this world. We have so much instantaneous access to one another. We have so much, I can tell you exactly what I'm going through at the exact moment that I'm going through it. I don't have to think about it, process it, maybe try to edit or change. So everything you get is raw, fresh, new. So you're able to not only take it in, but interpret it in its rawest and purest form, which gives you that level of empathy that wouldn't otherwise exist if I had to wait a day or write you a letter and wait for it to get in the mail for you to get my perspective and point of view. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. So from that standpoint, we have that advantage. We also have the advantage of being able to have access to knowledge that generations had previously had suppressed. You had to go through when I was coming up as a kid in high school, man. I went to high school. I graduated in 93. I was that nerdy kid that walked around with a big ass backpack full of encyclopedias and stuff because I ain't have no Google. That was how you had to dig and find information and stuff like that. And people weren't always willing to do that kind of stuff. You had to go through and you had to sit and do them long cliche hours in a library to find out this and find out that. Where now you pick up your phone, you can literally find out almost anything.
When was
You know what
Joe
I'm saying?
DiMaggio born?
You know what I'm saying? You can go through and you can look at stuff like that, or even more importantly, man, you can look at migration patterns of human beings from the Mesopotamian region outward in all directions. You can look and see exactly how early somebody came to the continent known as America before they alleged that the only person that came to it first was Christopher Columbus, because now we know that to be a lie. We know that Vikings and Indians and Africans were on this continent before Christopher Columbus accidentally stumbled into it. But when you're growing up, the only thing that you knew in my generation was that Christopher Columbus ran into this joint in
Got all the credit.
1492. And that's what it, you know what I'm saying? He got a holiday and everything out of this shit. But now we go through and we hear more. You know what I'm saying? We hear more about medical issues. We hear about how some of the oldest living beings that we know of, their skeletal remains and stuff like that, where they're indigenous from, what the DNA is indigenous to. You get stories and movies like the Hidden Figures movies. This new movie that Oprah came out with, The Extraordinary Life of Henrietta Lacks, which was something that was known for years, but nobody wanted to admit it publicly, that this black woman's DNA was responsible for so much stuff that revolutionized American medicine. Because how would it look other than to give us those little quips every once in a while in February about the stuff that we invented, that black people would have that much to do with the creation and formation and modernization of this country? That doesn't match the propaganda. There is, and this is my last Netflix drop, there is a documentary called The Unwritten, Untold History of the United States of America. It's directed by Oliver Stone because he's the only person that had the cred enough to be able to get away with doing the shit. It literally tells you how the media has perpetuated and used propaganda to literally shape the image of America since before World War One.
Thomas Paine.
It is an amazing documentary, but it tells you stuff that you would have never known in a million years because nobody else was ever going to tell you. And that's a part of the biggest thing about this. Now everybody wants to claim to be woke or be conscious and stuff like that. No, you just have easier access and you're actually paying attention to it instead of getting on fucking Candy Crush and Snapchat all the time. Not that that's a problem. It's a great diversion and everybody should have balance in everything that they do. But if your life is just on a fucking Snapchat filter on how many bonus rounds you can get on Candy Crush, well, in the words of Amani Jones, you're hustling backwards. It's just not the way that it's supposed to go. It's still a modern day version of what they used to always say about us back in the day. If you want to keep information away from a nigga, throw that shit in a book. They'll never find it.
Oh no, you won't ever find that shit with niggas. So I was just talking about how shit I need to start reading more.
And that's the thing, man. I live in a house full of books, man. It's something that doesn't go away from me from being a little kid, starting off as a toddler with my uncle, having me sitting up in his attic reading comic books, to reading full on, history books and stuff like that now. That's why I have the appreciation for the history of things the way that I do, because I grew up like reading this stuff. That was my getaway from whatever I had going on in the world. I would go get in my room, get a stack of books, sit and read, learn, educate yourself and stuff like that, man. It got me to a point that where once I got to my preteen and teenage years, man, I literally had an OCD knock about myself that I literally have to learn something new every day, or it will like literally physically bother me. I literally have to learn, and it doesn't matter how big or how small, but I try to learn something new every single day. Why? Because I've seen the byproduct, I've seen the unfortunate results that can come from just a little bit of giving in to that bullshit phrase that ignorance is bliss. It's one of the worst fucking phrases ever. It's anything but bliss.
Well, you need to go.
Ignorance is control.
And I love it how you just said something about ignorance is bliss. If you really want to dive deep in that boy Kendrick got a song got called "Ignorance is Bliss" that drops really knowledge and
Exactly.
spins that meeting on its head. And I like it now that podcasts like we have kind of help fill the void of those who don't want to pick up a book or those who don't want to read.
Or those that want to subscribe to that bullshit ESPN or FS1 propaganda and streamline cookie cutter bullshit, force fed. Let's get a reaction out of these motherfuckers' commentary that they put out every day.
Nobody
just have somebody speak honest from the heart.
Exactly, and that's what we love to bring to the people.
You goddamn right.
Well, I got to be honest about something. Just moving on to the next topic. I got Dante Fowler here. And this is probably one of the most talented defensive players I've probably seen at Florida. And this was at a time where Florida they didn't have a lot of going on the offensive side. They had a lot of stars on the defensive end.
Dante remind me a lot of Javon Curse though. That kid can ball.
And he did, but it's just some of the issues that he's been getting himself into. Have y'all seen the recent charges that he had? This is ridiculous. Stepped on the man glasses, threw his groceries in the lake. His groceries, dude. Like, man,
all over the man making a remark about the way he drove. I'm a debo you for your groceries. I'm gonna push you down, knock your glasses off, step on them hoes, and then I'm gonna throw your groceries in the lake.
My man,
deal with it.
You too old for that.
Way too old.
You too old for that shit. Like, like niggas is really naturally rude. Like niggas is really. I'm not talking black people. I'm not talking about black people.
I'm all on the. Well, damn. If this is what he got for just talking about you driving bad, I'm glad y'all ain't getting like no fender bender.
Exactly.
He might have ran the motherfucker over with his car.
Ran the nigga over like Tommy.
He got
man. Run.
Bone out the bone.
My
out
bad.
The socket,
my bad.
But the fact that he got 10 traffic citations in 20 months, one of them was for going 98 into 55 and caused $1,500 worth of property damage.
Damn.
Like Dante, what are you doing, dude? Like, what are you doing? He got way too much. I mean, I feel like we say this about 1 out of every 20 NFL players, but in his case, to go 3rd overall, be one of the most dynamic players at a historic franchise.
And you trying to make a name for yourself because your ass got hurt and didn't even play your rookie year.
Got hurt in OTAs, my man.
Like it's a lot of. Somebody needs to reach out to these young African American young men and just,
I kind of want to throw Zeke. I want to throw Zeke up in there.
Zeke is in there too. It's just these people. You giving these people too much power, too much freedom that they just feel like they can get away with it. Just like you said, Ezekiel Elliott, we were just talking about how his case got thrown out because of lack of complaints. Well, why the fuck did this news story popped up? It had to be.
Well, his case didn't get thrown out. It just got suspended because the DJ that got hit is in hiding and nobody can find his ass to get a statement from him.
It must be nice to get thrown a few million so you go out to an island somewhere.
He got that hush money. They know he
that nigga.
My thing is this: we can go through on a year by year basis, man, and talk about guys coming out in the combine and stuff like that. And somebody will always get caught up with something going on right before the draft. Somebody smoking. Somebody done beat on somebody.
That Laramie Tunsil shit, like, bro.
Yeah, I blame.
Here's the thing, though. I think there's an untapped market out there that people don't take advantage of. They have all these strength and conditioning combines and little complexes and stuff where the athletes go after they declare and they do nothing but sit and train on how to do all the combine tests, and they have chefs there to make sure that they eating right, and they got dorms to stay in and stuff like that. Man, if I know that this guy is going to be a top prospect, got a legit shot at the combine, this, that, and the other, I'm coming through if I'm the agent, and I'm like Jerry Maguire on steroids. I'm your concierge. Come here, son. This is what we're going to do. They projecting you to be first round top 15. I guarantee you that you will stay in the top 15. Why? Sign on this dotted line. We're going to go with what I call the Derek Jeter package. Give me your phone. Give me access to all your social media. Here's the place where you're going to stay. Here's where you're going to train. Here's the guy that's going to drive you. Here's the guy that's going to kick it with you and make sure that nobody comes up that has ill intentions towards you. We're going to put you in that quote unquote bubble from the time you declare to the time you walk across that goddamn stage when you get drafted. just to make sure that no shade comes your way, just to make sure that none of these random broads don't accuse you of doing this or doing that, or that you're not stupid enough to go up in somebody's apartment complex and throw their groceries in the lake and step on their glasses.
But
You're costing yourself millions.
But
it's crazy to me.
But this is even bigger than that, in my opinion. I feel like the NFL, the NFL is to blame for this because they
NFL can't touch them before they get there, though. And a lot of these kids have these problems before they get to the NFL.
That's not cutting up while they in the league. I mean,
but that's the thing about it. Well, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about once they're in the league, they're wilding out. These teams need to implement and put psychiatrists in place to talk to these players, to calm these players.
Every NFL team has a team psychiatrist on the payroll.
They ain't doing a damn good job because clearly you don't.
There's nothing in the collective bargaining agreement. There's nothing in the collective bargaining agreement as signed upon by the NFL and the NFLPA that said that you can make them go to those services.
I know,
they have internship services. They have things that teach them how to save their money. They have 24/7 coverage. If some shit goes down at a club or if they're too drunk, the NFL has 24-hour, 7-day-a-week coverage anywhere where they're at to come get them and make sure that they don't have to drive their own shit or get caught up. And they have too much pride to use it.
That's what I'm saying.
They provide all those things. It's not the NFL's fault, though. They provide all those things. The players don't use them. That's a huge difference.
But this is the thing that I'm saying. The NFL needs to implement where it's no just you have this available to you and you can just use it at your discretion. You need to implement. But that's the thing I'm saying. Yes. Yeah,
they won't sign up on that, bro. They won't.
But that's all the thing in the collective bargaining. But see that again, I understand what you're saying, fam. But the thing that we're trying to say is this: the NFL will be more than happy to put that in the CBA, but the players aren't going to sign it.
They're not going.
And that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to. That's the point I was getting at. Is the NFL is still benefit of these stories of being but the players need to. If you're really thinking about the well-being of your career, you need to put.
They only care about can we get more money on the next CBA. That's all they.
Then we in the mishap then, and I just don't understand where the NFL is going to go forward. Because
here's my big thing. Here's my big thing about the NFL when we have these talks about player strikes and stuff like that. Because everybody was so quick to run to the side of the players. Understandable, cool, whatever. As somebody that looks at it not only as a fan but as a fan of the business model, the one thing that I always have to bring up just out of fairness is people say, oh, you know, these guys aren't getting paid enough and these owners make so much money, this, that, and the other. And to that I say, how much does an MRI cost? How much does it cost to feed the team on the road? How much does jet fuel cost? The owners pay for everything. What do the players spend their monay on? They don't put anything back into the league. They spend their money going out. They don't spend it. They don't reinvest into the league. The owners reinvest a part of that money into the league to help sustain it. Yeah. They have to pay for stadium maintenance and upgrades. Players don't do that.
Sure don't.
Because I still feel like the scariest thing that you can do in the NFL is just sliding $500K or even $2 million to a 21, 22-year-old.
Exactly. And my thing is, if you go through and you claim fairness and stuff like that, oh, we need to be paid more than this, that, and the other. Well, you know what? I'll be more than happy to give you a bigger cut if you start chipping in on house expenses.
All this other shit.
Be an independent contractor.
You want to go and live like you independent, but you still staying at your mom and daddy's house, but you ain't chipping in no rent. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what it comes down to for me. There's different factors that come into it and stuff like that, but if you're going to take it down to brass tacks and, oh, we need this, we need that, we need this, okay, other than your entertainment value and what you bring from a physical standpoint, which is pretty much just your job description anyway, you're not reinvesting anything back into this league, and they're investing a ton of stuff into you. In all fairness, people can say what they want. If people really sat down, opened up that smartphone or that tablet or whatever, and they looked into all of the programs that are available to these NFL players, and I mean world class. These dudes get to do internships at Barney Sachs if they want to learn about businesses. They get to tour and go and learn from different business models. If you want to be a restaurateur, they got those kinds of things set up for you. Law enforcement, in any area that you want to go to, post-football career, they give you the avenues to go find out about it before you leave the game. They go and they have money
A
people,
whole rookie
market
symposium.
investors and stuff like that. They have a sip up, but you know what? People think
Yeah.
that it stops there. They have
Yeah.
access to that their entire careers. They can
Yeah.
go and they can talk to money men. They can talk to people that will teach them how to positively reinvest their money, how to not live beyond your means and stuff like that, even if you're not used to having it. But they don't take advantage of it.
They don't, man. Ain't no, not to let this player slide either. Deontay Foreman. You know, I was very disappointed.
Man, that's my boy. I went to high school with his mom and his dad.
And I get that. Like, hey, don't believe me. When me and Marcus did a little preview of the Texans, like I want to say a couple months ago, I said this is the guy to look out for as far as who can make the biggest impact as a rookie. Now, you had the sad ass story, and I'm kind of pissed off because you had this sad ass story before you got drafted. You get here saying that, oh man, I always wanted to be a Texan. You clearly got a kid that you're trying to take care of.
Yeah.
You got training camp in a week. Why are you in Austin, man? Why are you hanging out with 6 people? Why you got your pistol?
Well, I mean, you know, them Longhorn boys do that kind of stuff. But more importantly,
and I get that, but he don't need to be in
understand
that
that the stakes are different. Yeah, understand that the stakes are different. Understand that, you know, you got a lot more to lose than the average person. But the one thing that I will say on his behalf is that it doesn't speak to his character. This is something that would be a usual occurrence for him. And I'm hoping once they dig a little further that they'll kind of they'll kind of find out and see what it is. But you know, even with that being said,
had a good argument though, because like I say, it was 6 of them. Only one person had weed, and the gun he had, he's legally owned. So I think the case is gonna get thrown away. But it's just a simple fact that
the point of it, I didn't have any fear about it turning into anything per se. It's just the fact that it's there now, and somebody can put it out for clickbait, and it can be judged and misconstrued and all that other stuff. Now
you're a thug, you know what I'm saying? And that's like you just said, that's not the type of person he is.
Look at him, he's got dread. Look at him, he's got dreads. How could you not know? How could you not know? Jesus, Mel Kiper tried to tell you. Mel Kiper tried to tell you. You guys wouldn't listen.
White people call him Marshawn Lynch now. For no
Todd McShay tried to warn you. He tried to warn you. He said, look at him. He's got dreads. He ran for $2,000 in Austin. He's got to be a thug. Jeez Louise. You guys, I don't understand, man. You want to sit here and pump this guy up, but Christian McCaffrey can't get any burn. What the hell is wrong with you people?
The real hero here is Christian McCaffrey.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what it comes to.
Stop shutting the white running back out, man. God. You'll let any Tom, Dick, and Deontay come out here and run for $2,000 and then break every law known to man. What's Christian done? You heard anything about Christian? No, he's running wind sprint somewhere. He's doing a 3-cone shuttle right now. Right now.
With his dad.
Bet it's sub 4.5 3-cone shuttle with his dad and his brother. Shout out to Max out in Green Bay. Getting it in, homie. You guys don't know their lives. Y'all aren't down with the McCaffreys. You weren't rooting for his dad when he was catching him passes from Elway. You wanted Rod Smith to get all the glory, didn't you? Don't lie. You people disgust me. You wanted all those passes to go to Shannon's cable guy lisp talking ass, didn't you? Didn't you?
Hey, not too much on Shannon, man.
Stand you colors. God.
Man, before we get into the AFC West, I do want to bring up this quick injury to Mike Williams, man. You know, he got
Phillip got bad. I feel bad for Phillip, man.
Phillip just threw the remote at his TV, and that shit went across the. He gave you that Kevin Hart omen.
Man, Keenan Allen and Tyrell Williams last year.
Bruh, they are snake bit at every fucking skill position. They can't keep nobody healthy, bruh.
Half the defense fucked up.
Yes. Bruh, like they like walking wounded, homie. Welcome to LA. Good luck.
I don't know what's going on with the Chargers, man. They need some people to help out in their nutrition or something, because there's some bad juju going on.
Like right now, if I'm a member of the Chargers training staff, I'm like, are we like on the hot seat? Are we on the? Do I need to update my resume? Somebody just be honest with me, nigga. Don't leave me on. Don't leave me on. Hey, just let me know.
Y'all got to come to that meeting in the morning, or just me? Oh shit.
Hey, they tell anybody else to bring their books with them? Oh fuck! I done got set up.
But that's a big loss for the Chargers, man.
That's a huge loss.
That is him this year.
That is a huge loss, because that was one of my biggest fantasy sleepers.
Well, guess what? Tyrell Williams uptick.
Oh yeah, Tyrell Williams. He was going like 11 round.
I hope Stevie Johnson coming back healthy.
And honestly, Melvin Gordon just got a huge uptick.
Yeah, he did. They're gonna go to him in that goal line situation. Antonio Gates and Hunter Henry.
That's all right though. They still gonna suck this year.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Can't make it seem like Melvin Gordon don't got his own little injury issues, but hey, we gonna get into that. I mean, they finished.
Yeah. Every team in that division has got their pros and got their cons. Nobody is completely healthy. Nobody is really a total team in that division, which makes that division real interesting.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the AFC West, man. Probably one of the most competitive divisions I've seen last year. Even though the Chargers was trash,
entertaining as hell to watch though.
They did put up a few fights. I mean, I know them and the Broncos had a damn good Thursday night football game.
They division games are off the chain. It don't matter what their records are.
Did you call them trash?
Who?
The Chargers wasn't trash. I don't consider them trash.
They was
Man, come on, man. You gotta give them unfortunate. Man, you gotta give them unfortunate.
5-11 with the top 10 pick. Is that not trash? I mean, if you picking in the top 10, you clearly the third tier. So
we talking about the same team that lost Travis Benjamin, Tyrell Williams, Keenan Allen, Stevie Johnson, Danny Woodhead. All they did.
Yeah, them dudes. Because if they had all them dudes, they wasn't about to go 12-4. So I mean,
they would have. Come on, I mean, y'all really.
No, they were a playoff team a couple years ago, but that's
you can't tell them they have bad.
Okay, well, let me ask this question then, since we obviously being too hard on the Chargers. Are you that sold on Mike McCoy?
No, I'm not sold on.
Because that's half their problem right there.
Because I'm talking about, I want to see how the Chargers can be with a healthy team, so I can really get to feel. I want to see how the
Chargers are with a competent coach. Because that trumps a healthy team 9 times out of 10. I just don't like Mike McCoy. I don't think that it's a good fit for that team, and I don't think they'll be successful with him.
Mike McCoy is on the Broncos now. Now they got Anthony Lynn. So
my God!
Now they got the kid that came out of Buffalo. The guy that's committed to the running game. So
now we're in another stage of transition. So now we're trying to reinvent ourselves again, offensively and defensively to a certain extent. So it sounds like another 5-11 to me.
But like I said, they finished last. We're going to talk about the team that finished first. The Kansas City Chiefs, they had the second seed in the division and blew one of the worst games to the Steelers I ever seen in the playoffs.
Yeah. I hope they enjoyed it because they're not going to be a number 2 seed this year.
Well, what kind of records y'all got going for the
I got them at 10-6.
I got them 10-6 also. You got the same? What y'all losses looking like?
My losses are to New England, Pittsburgh, at Oakland, at Dallas, at the Giants, and at Denver.
Okay. I got the same as you, but instead of the Giants and Denver, I got 14 at Oakland, and I also got them losing at Houston week 5. I think Houston going to be able to take that nighttime game.
And I got them losing to the – no, they played the Broncos first?
They start off at New England. They open up against New England. That's an L.
Thursday night.
They open up at New England. That's an L, homie.
Yeah, they ain't got a chance.
That's like season opener. That's an L. On ring night, get out of here. That's an L.
I gotta come back to me. My computer tripping. I forgot where I have them losses at.
Oh no, you good. I mean, like I say, no.
I mean, their schedule isn't necessarily easy by any stretch of the imagination. The AFC West plays a hard schedule this year, because they got AFC East and the NFC East.
Yeah. AFC and NFC East. So yeah, they got a pretty tough schedule. So like I say, 10-6 is really the ceiling that I see. They may be able to. It may be a couple teams.
I'm really hard pressed to see them maybe sneak one of those 6 losses and get it. Maybe they sweep Denver, depending on where Denver's head's at.
I can still see them losing like a game to like that Washington game. You know, Kirk Cousins got too much firepower. And that defense gonna really have to hold up for them.
Only reason why I'm hesitant when it comes to games like that, fam, is the simple fact that I know what it's like to be in Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If that game was in Washington, I probably would have considered it a loss. But because it's not, that's the only reason why I consider it a W.
But we also talking Monday night, so Washington do have extra. I mean, I'm not trying to make it for Washington. I'm just saying they got.
I got them going 8-8. I said it wrong. I said the wrong thing. I got them going 8-8.
Well, look at you, sir.
Hey, I'm sorry. I got them losing to the Patriots.
Man, if you come back after this 8-8 and give me a 10-6 with the Chargers, I'm gonna climb through this podcast. You know he's setting us up, right? You know he's setting us up.
Because that 8-8 sound ridiculous.
Yeah, that 8-8 sound like a build up for them Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
I got them losing to the Patriots, the Texans, the Steelers, the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Raiders again, and then I got either they're gonna lose to the Broncos one of the times they're gonna play, or they may luck up and win that.
I'll
So
tell you
you
this
can
right
win
now.
both
If
of them.
they,
See,
if
I
they,
don't think they're going. I don't think they're going to get swept by anybody in their division.
See, that's
I
what I'm
think
no. I didn't say. See, I didn't mention the Broncos. I said they're gonna either win both of those games, or the Broncos gonna get one of. They're gonna go 1-1. That's why I get the 8-8. So it's gonna go 9-7 or 8-8.
see the problem with them
Okay.
going 8-8. I think if they go 8-8 or less, they about to enter full rebuild. I
Man,
mean, they
first-
already kind of started the rebuild.
Well, see, for me, the thing about it is this: I don't think that they'll go 8-8 for two reasons. Number one, the steadiness of the philosophy and the fact that their defense is actually kind of
Still good.
stabilizing and they're still good. They still play at a high level. Their home field advantage is undeniable.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that Andy Reid has a lot of the parts that he likes to use in the offense that he runs. Nothing really flashy. There's no real quote unquote elite name players on there outside of maybe Travis Kelce to a certain extent.
Maybe
Tyreek Hill has flashes, but he ain't played long enough to get that elite number from me yet. You can't get
Man,
elite
I don't
off 1
know.
year. You can't get elite off 1 year. I don't care who you are.
Last year was impressive, dude.
But look,
Oh,
this is what I'm
last year
saying.
last year
Last
was
year was
awesome.
very impressive.
Last year was awesome, but that was with
now they
having
got tape
other
on
people to that was with no tape and with other people on the outside boundary.
Exactly, and then on top of that, they don't have the lack of wide receiver help is always going to be a red flag to me. But on top of that, at the Patriots, at the Texans, at the Raiders, at the Cowboys, at the Giants, the Raiders going to sneak up and get one of those other games, and the Broncos, like I said, I can see them slipping to 8-8. I don't see how it's too far.
It's not far fetched. It's not far fetched.
it's
It's not far fetched. I mean, I only got them at 10-6. So
Yeah,
if
I
ball
trust
bounced
their
twice the wrong
defense.
way, they can easily go 8-8.
I trust their defense. It's that offense that I'm what we said once again was about Alex Smith. You know how we all feel about him. I have a little bit more faith than y'all do, but we have.
Oh no, I love Alex Smith. Don't get it twisted. I like Alex Smith.
Okay, because I know.
Oh yeah, I like Alex Smith.
I don't know if it was with you or I don't know if it was our last podcast.
Yeah, that was with Mitchell when we was talking.
Okay,
I was about to say one of my greatest arguments that I tell people all the time is that it's funny how fate can be cruel sometimes because information gets switched around here and there, and Alex Smith can easily be Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers could easily be Alex Smith. They can easily switch roles. It's hard to go through with what Alex Smith had to go through in his first 6-7 years and still be productive like he is. I give him a ton of credit.
Exactly, that's why
I give him a ton of credit.
But I do that Travis Kelce, if he panned out to be how he is, and Tyreek Hill, if they come into shape and it's that running back situation, I don't know what's this going to look like going into this season. So that's why it's a whole bunch of questions.
Who is the starting running back?
See, I don't know.
Spencer Ware for now, but I feel Kareem Hunt gonna take.
He's gonna lose that because Hunt looked good last year at the tail end.
But I still the one thing fantasy wise, I really don't see nobody I want except Travis Kelce in defense. That's about it.
Kelce, and if you're in deeper leagues that are like bare bones standard league formats, Alex Smith is a viable QB2, QB3.
Oh, of course, it's a great streamer, and Chris Conley may have like 3 good games this year. I just don't know.
But you never know.
I just don't know with
3. Yeah, you just don't know with 3.
But Tyreek Hill going.
I like Tyreek Hill.
You're going way too early, bro.
He's going way too early. But if he falls, if people don't really
now, if it's a return league where you get the return yards,
if you get all the yards, if you get receptions, rushes, and returns,
yeah, then he worked 4th round. But the fact that they taking him off kick returns and he's going to be punt return only is like,
you know what? The funny part about that,
at least like 8 points right there. That's like
the funny part about that. If they come stumbling out the gate on offense, they're going to take his ass off punt returns too. Have him concentrate on receiver full time because they don't have no choice.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely see that. So it's like I think Spencer Ware in the third is too high because I don't see him having his job much longer. Alex Smith getting undrafted, so you can always stream him just in case you're a quarterback on the bye week.
Yeah.
And Kareem Hunt, if I got him double-digit rounds, I'd take a shot, but I still wouldn't go him in the 8th.
I like Kareem in the 11th, 12th.
Yeah,
range.
that's what I'm saying. Double digits only because we don't know when he's going to take. It's too many question marks on this team, man. The only for sure thing is Travis
Even with him coming through and he might get the majority of the shares, I still fully expect him to be a timeshare running back.
Yeah, exactly. I can see Kareem Hunt being the catch, the yardage, and then Spencer Ware coming in 10 yards and up. Like, this me.
And here's the frustration with one Alex Smith. You can give me 3,500 yards, but you can only give me 15 TDs.
max.
That is maddening
And the crazy
as
part,
a fantasy football owner.
3,500 yards, bro. That was his career high.
Yeah.
So that's like this is the best.
But you know the funny part about that though, like that's like Aikman numbers.
Yeah,
that's true.
that's Aikman numbers.
Well, they didn't pass as much, and he ain't got Emmitt Smith behind. But yeah, it is very comparable. With
it's
the same kind of system.
Yeah, I feel like if you allowed him to open it up a little bit and use his arm a little bit, I think he can do pretty well. But I don't feel like they asked him.
When Alex last played in San Francisco, when they were in the playoffs and had that awesome game against New Orleans, and they finally took the leash off, they finally took the governor off that engine and said, "You know what? Remember that shit you used to do in Utah? Go do that shit. Go do that shit." And it was like, "Oh shit!"
Here you go, Vernon Davis.
Man, it was like, "Oh shit! This is Alex Smith." Holy shit!
I feel like people overrate him. I mean,
he was cooking. He was cooking.
Oh yeah, he was. He definitely was. I mean, but like I say, other than that, I'd probably take a crack at their defense if I can jump up and get them. Or that's if I was to try to get a defense.
Yeah, now hold on. On the old man's favorite on that IDP tip, yeah, Eric Berry is a star. Marcus Peters is a super duper star in IDP leagues. I mean, like legit super duper star on IDP leagues. Their running back, their linebackers stay a little too banged up.
Yeah, Derek Johnson coming off the Achilles.
You can take a flyer off of Justin Houston just for the tackle goals. Tamba Hali might get you some here and there, depending on how they do their scoring systems. I don't trust any of their D linemen.
Who did they let go? Was it Dontari Poe? I believe he went to Atlanta.
Yeah, they let Poe go. That's why I said I don't trust any of their D linemen.
Nice pick
for fantasy purposes.
Nice pick up for Atlanta. But yeah, man, let's I ain't got much else to say about the Chiefs, man. I'm just not really feeling it last year. I feel like last year was an outlier. I feel like
they got a lot more variables moving forward than they had at this time last year, which is not good for business when you're trying to keep up with the Young Bucks in Oakland and the rebuilding project going on in Denver and the mess in San Diego, or I'm sorry, Los Angeles. I keep disrespecting San Diego by letting that trash that used to represent them continue to represent them. Yeah, brother. Spoiler alert. They are not going to do well with me. On this preview.
Let's go to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Hey, the Raiders, man.
Hey, let me tell you something. As somebody that just came from there, they are all the way lit and ready for the Raiders to get there.
I'm ready. I'm ready for them.
Oh my God! Between that hockey team that they got there.
They still mad at the XFL team ain't back.
And then another crazy side note. I forgot the fact that I wanted to tell y'all that earlier. While I was there this past weekend, man, Mr. Ball and his Big Baller brand did a pop-up storefront on the Strip. Sold like fucking wildfire. It was 1 million folks walking around with Stay in Your Lane t-shirts on. They made a killing. They made a killing. So for anybody that's doubting this man and his marketability and his ability to get out there and strike while the iron is hot, he might not be crushing it in your neighborhood yet. But he's killing it out there at home.
He booming.
He's killing it out there at home.
He ain't nothing but Don King. Everybody kept getting confused.
Man, he is blazing it.
He's a promoter.
Had me ready to chunk 50 at one of them shirts. Boy, it's got the little gold LeMay lettering too. Had that bling on it. Stay in your lane. Bam.
The market's
50.
Yeah. Yeah, but see, the other funny part about that though, and this is the part that I try to tell people, man. You're talking about him selling a T-shirt for $50 in a city where gas is $3.69, and your mall has a Fendi store, a Yves Saint Laurent store, a Burberry store, a Vuitton store. So $50 for them for a T-shirt is what they're used to paying at every other store.
Yeah,
it's not that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? For us, it's huge because it's like, well, wait, nigga, the cost of living is low here. We don't. Like I got 5 homeboys that make T-shirts, bro. Slow your roll. Wait, I can't. I can get like 10 shirts for $50. You know what I'm saying? Just
let me go get 2. Let me get them 2 tall tees for $20.
You know what I'm saying? Hold on a second, player. Y'all got the game fucked up. What color is that? Yeah, let me get that in that lettering, but I'm gonna get on these tall tees right here from the gas station. Yeah,
exactly, man.
4-pack, $18. Who's winning? Who's winning?
What kind of record y'all got the Raiders with this year?
12-4.
I got them going 13-3.
12-4. I got 12-4. 13-3. Who's your 3, Mark?
I got the Giants, the good old Patriots, and the Cowboys or the Eagles.
All right, I got the Eagles, Patriots, Giants, and I also got Washington, man. I think that at Washington game.
This is funny because we all have different losses.
Oh, damn.
What you got?
Oh, I have them losing week 1 to my sleeper team in the AFC, those Titans in Tennessee.
Sleeping.
Don't know how healthy Derek might be, so he might have a little rust to shake off in that week 1. That's why I give him that one. I got him losing to New England. I got him losing to the Giants, but then I got them losing back-to-back games against the Giants and at Kansas City. I got them sweeping the way out the door, Dallas, Philly, and the Chargers.
Okay.
If they played Dallas in Dallas, I would give Dallas a better chance, but because of the fact that they're playing in Oakland, it's late in the season, they'll probably have a little bit more on the line than Dallas does at that point. I give them the nod in that one.
See, I was
don't
thinking
score too much, but who y'all think Oakland gonna get the 2 seed or the 3 seed?
I think that Oakland is going to get the 2 seed because I think the best team record-wise in the AFC again this year by default is probably going to be New England.
I had Pittsburgh at the 2 seed, but okay, we'll get to that.
But on top of that, with the Raiders,
the only reason I don't have Pittsburgh at the 2 seed, not to give a spoiler for our divisional preview for that division.
Oh, that's coming up next.
I think that these contract talks and stuff like that are going to kind of alter a little bit of that dynamic going on in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Oh, and hold on. Side note, did y'all hear about the beef that's going on between Ben Roethlisberger and Martavis Bryant?
I mean, he got a damn right to. You got to realize.
You want to know
Big Ben is out the door. Well,
you want to know the funny thing about? You want to know the funny thing about that though?
What?
Somebody go buy Martavis one of them big baller T-shirts and tell him to stay in his goddamn lane, bruh.
Yeah.
You are literally trying to be a rebel and function off of the cliche. You are biting the hand that feeds you.
Exactly.
If you don't like it, bruh, okay, be mad at me all you want. I promise I will never throw to you.
Exactly.
I don't have to throw to you, bro.
You know,
they got 8 receivers on the goddamn roster. I don't have to throw to you.
He's gonna be getting them balls.
Man, I like Sammy Coates a little bit better than him anyway.
Ooh, drop that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sammy Coates got a lot of that skill set like a young Anquan Bolden, homie. I like Sammy Coates a lot.
Yeah, if he can learn to
get that hand
not
together.
drop too many balls.
He get them hands together. He got the route running and the overall skill set together, and he's built like a running back already because he's like 6'1", 6'2", 210 pounds. He can make it happen in that Pittsburgh offense.
We've seen it. We've seen flashes of it.
We've seen the flashes.
Exactly. But
like
I see a little bit too much more Mike Wallace in Martavis for my taste.
And that's what I see too. And you know that's a boom or bust. You see what Mike Wallace doing out there, a whole bunch of nothing. And he
in them streets catching 1 out of 9 bombs. That's about it.
He's gonna give you 6 points and tell you to fuck yourself.
Man, I hated that nigga. With Baltimore, he had 2 good games. I said, oh man, Mike Wallace in there. He was
Mike Wallace is Alvin Harper when he went to Tampa Bay.
Just fell the fuck off.
Man, I'm gonna give you 2 games a season, player. That's all I got. That's all I'm gonna give you. If you don't like it, fuck you.
I'm gonna give you 8 catches for 128 yards and maybe a touchdown, and that's as high as you gonna go.
Man, and that's only gonna be 2 games, player. It's only gonna be 2 games. And surprise! I'm not gonna tell you which 2, but it'll be 2 games.
I'm high on the Raiders because the culture.
I'm super high on them. They're a legit Super Bowl contender.
Or something that's going on with that organization. They are all clicked in. They remind me of the Seattle Seahawks of like a few years ago. Just seemed like everybody was all happy together. The defense loved the offense. The offense loved the defense.
They had a damn good defensive draft.
Exactly.
Well, they had to have one because their defense was damn horrible.
And I think Amari Cooper. Oh man, I think Amari Cooper is bouncing back this year. I don't think it's going to be too many drop balls this year.
See, I got Amari Cooper in one keeper league. I think that's going to be the only league I own him in. I still think he's getting drafted kind of high, man.
Oh, he getting drafted.
I got him in 2 of mine. If he's getting drafted higher than the 4th round, then that's too high.
He's second round right now, man.
Nah, that's too high.
He's second round pick 10 right now. Like I say, I'm gonna keep him in my keeper league, but I don't think I'm gonna be drafting.
The fact that A, Crabtree is still there, and B, they just added Jared Cook, all but guarantees that's too high of a spot to draft him in.
I think Marshawn going too high. I think the only person that's really respectable right now is probably Derek Carr in the 6th round,
bruh.
And DeAndre Washington in the 13th round.
Because Crabtree going too high.
this
Yeah,
team
Crabtree
from a
wanted.
fantasy football perspective is
I
just
honestly
like the
rather have
Packers.
Martavis Bryant than Michael Crabtree if we're at the same spot.
The Oakland skill position talent for fantasy football purposes almost mirrors Green Bay's. The only lock that you have, the only guaranteed lock that you have on that team is the quarterback. Everybody else is literally up for grabs.
Yeah, because Amari Cooper will have 100 yards and Michael Crabtree will have 2 touchdowns, and I'll just be pissed off.
Yeah, it's like they trade off the stats, like
back and forth.
And then Crabtree had like 2-point conversion. I'm like, what the hell is going on in Oakland? Like, what?
Hey, he was balling.
Because I mean, you go through. Both receivers had 80 catches. Both receivers had over 1,000 yards.
Touchdowns.
But one had 8 touchdowns, the other one had 5. It's like, okay, that's not premier fantasy wideout. No, that's not first round wideout numbers.
The only thing that stood out to Amari, because you got to realize, like I say, I was the guy that drafted Amari Cooper his rookie year in my keeper league. I took him in the 3rd round. They're like, why you took Amari so high? Like, hey, he got talent. But last year he had 5 calls in the red zone in passing. And then I don't know if y'all seen that Oakland versus Kansas City game.
Oh yeah.
When they threw the ball deep, but it had hit like one of the wires, one of the
the camera wires.
Oh my God, that was gonna be.
And I was happy because I was playing
like a 60-yard touchdown.
And I was playing against somebody. I was playing against you. I was like, you know what? I don't need him to drop. I was like, yo, because they had.
That was a 60-yard touchdown, Wilson, just off the board, bro.
And now here's the funny thing about it, man. For comparison, and this is one of the reasons why I say it's like similar to Green Bay's situation as far as from fantasy purposes. You look at an Amari Cooper who had 83 catches for 1,100 yards and scored 5 touchdowns. And then you have the next closest receiver is Seth Roberts, who had 38 catches for 397 yards, but he had 5 touchdowns.
But you know what? There's going to be a touchdown, I guess, stat correction going on with Amari Cooper. He's not going to.
But you know the funny part about that? You know the funny part about that? I honestly don't think that will change because you had the young rookie tight end and Clyde Wofford, who actually started out good. You're going to add another tight end to that in Jared Cook. That's taking away red zone opportunities. And then you got, Washington and Lynch taking away red zone touches too because they're going to pound that rock. They're going to pound that rock. I do not think, honestly, that Amari Cooper, unless they're just long touchdowns or long bombs. I don't look for him to score more than 6. I don't look for him to score more than 6 or 7 touchdowns.
Like the 39-yarder he took to the house.
I thought he was going to get a lot of more bubble screens, and he was going.
But see, now on the flip, I think that Michael Crabtree is probably going to have about 850 to 900 yards this year, and I think that Amari Cooper is going to have closer to 1,200 to 1,250 yards. I think that part is going to shift.
It ain't shit without the touchdowns, though. The yards is nice.
And that's the thing. Yeah, it's gonna be that Larry. It's gonna be that Larry Fitzgerald type thing. It's gonna be a lot of great yards.
He led the league in yardage and still finished like receiver 7.
Man, isn't it amazing that he's done that a couple of times and nobody really cares because he don't have the TVs to go with it? Like he's led the league in receiving yards like 2 or 3 times since he's been in the league, and nobody cares. It doesn't matter because I'll never take him in fantasy. I'm good. I'm straight. Appreciate it. I'll take this Devontae Adams or Jordy Elson that's going to get me like 14 or 13 touchdowns.
I need the touchdowns.
I'll take that. I'll take that on 1,000 yards even before I take that 1,500 yards and 4 touchdowns. So I'm good.
Derek Carr aside, if you had to have one Raider on your team, who would it be? If you had to.
If Crabtree failed, I would probably go with Crabtree because I can see him giving you sneaky wide receiver 3 potential, maybe upside of maybe a 2. But other than that, maybe Marshawn Lynch because he may be the Marshawn of old from what I was seeing and hearing.
If I had to take anybody, if I had to take anybody and just to kind of fill in for depth purposes and stuff like that, I think that Cook is going to maintain strong high tier 2, maybe low tier 1 stats for a tight end.
Man, I hate Cook
because I know that they are high on him.
Would you rather have Jared Cook or Eric Ebron? They was both in the same round.
Give me Ebron.
I'll have Jared.
Well, you'll take Jared over Ebron.
You take Jared over. See, I don't like Jared, man. I feel like
I take Jared over Ebron. I take Jared over Ebron because I take who Jared is getting the ball from over Ebron.
True. I just feel like in my opinion, I think Ebron's going to be more utilized.
Ebron is going to get more targets, but I mean, are the targets going to be Stafford running for his life, getting hit targets, or are they going to actually be standing in the pocket looking at his targets? It's a big difference.
I hope they look at Ebron because if you watch the games, Detroit games, I don't for whatever reason.
He was dominant sometimes.
He was open.
Oh, he was getting it in, homie.
Yeah, he was wide the fuck open and Matthew.
But here's the other problem. Here's the other problem for what Jim Bob Cooter likes to do in that offensive scheme and stuff like that. The one thing that you have to worry about as far as Ebron's touches too, the one thing you got to worry about with Ebron's touches too is the fact that they're going to throw the ball a lot to Amir Abdullah.
That's true.
And I get that Amir Abdullah is going to get those catches. But when it comes to play calling from Jim Bob Cooter.
Hey, Jim Bob know what he's doing, baby. Jim Bob said, I don't know about that fancy Ebron right there, but I know them boys named Amir to come out that Nebraska, that corn country boy. I know they can. Yeah, they going to catch that pass. He going to catch that bubble screen for me. Watch him go. Watch him go. Look at him. You better get it, Abdullah. Shit. You better get that shit. That's 6 points right there, motherfucker. That's 6 points right there.
Mitchell that we talked to last week was high on
he was
Abdullah this year.
Super high
for the system that they like to run under his scheme, under Jim Bob's scheme, man. I'm telling you, that running back gets featured almost in a manner like Mike Martz used to feature Marshall Faulk in that Rams offense. If Amir can stay healthy, he's gonna do David Johnson number of touches. He'll get like 200, 240 carries, and he'll get like 80 catches. Like Marcus, legitimately.
Marcus, why'd you deprive the audience of that? You called him Jim Bob. We know it's Jim Bob Cooter. You cannot just say Jim Bob.
I'm sorry.
Jim Bob Cooter.
I apologize. I didn't know it was like a combo meal. You got to put some respect on my goddamn name. You don't say Jim Bob. Next thing you know, you're going to try to call me JBC like you know me personally. It's Jim. It's Bob, and then there's Cooter, motherfucker. You better remember that Cooter.
Yes, sir.
You better remember that Cooter because the ladies love it when I tell them that shit.
That Cooter
Jim Bob Cooter. What you want to know about that last one? Shit. I'm up in Motown. I know about that King of Diamonds. They took me around 8 Mile. I know what the fuck is going on. Shit.
Dang, that nigga talking about 8 Mile, Lord.
They know what it is. They know what I am in here. Shit, I'm the new Shady in this motherfucker. You see how I got Stafford on blast? Look at his touchdowns last year. Shit.
Hey man, I hope Detroit does have a good year, but I
don't hope that, player. Don't hope that.
I'm hoping he has a consistent year.
No, we're not hoping for that either.
That's the Green Bay fan in you.
You goddamn right.
See how the bias came out.
I said it.
Saw that Jim Bob Cooter accident left the building quick than a motherfucker. No.
Who the hell is Jim Bob?
Fuck that. No, he's as a matter of fact, he's James William Cooter. I call him Jim Bob. Fuck that motherfucker.
I'm done.
But yeah, the Raiders. Besides that, I don't see nobody else from the Raiders. Marshawn Lynch is going too high.
It's a crapshoot, man. It just kind of depends on the only way, and it's unfortunate, but we know it works this way in fantasy football. The only way any of those guys' worth is going to go up is if somebody else gets hurt.
That's true, and I agree with that.
All right, man. Let's move on to the Broncos.
The curse of being balanced.
I didn't even realize they was 9-7 last year until now. I
damn, they was 9-7. You lying?
Yeah, they were.
That was the quietest 9-7
in that thing, homie. Super quiet.
Man,
I got them reversing this year. I don't know about y'all.
I got them 7-9, or maybe slip down to 6-10.
Shit, you better pencil them suckers in for last.
Oh, there you go.
5-11 in this hole. 5-11.
Ooh-wee.
5-11. The wheels fall off that offense, and they got to find their way.
You got the Broncos 5-11.
Yes, sir.
Who are these losses, man?
Dallas, Oakland, Giants, at LA, at Kansas City, at Philly, New England, Cincinnati, at Oakland, at Miami, at Washington. And they're all legitimate chances to be losses. It's not like any of them are far from.
I thought you were about to say the Jets. I was about to lose.
No, bro, I'm not stupid. No. The other New York team. The ones with the good players.
The only question mark I gave you was the Dolphins. I didn't give them that loss to the Dolphins.
Only reason I swing that to the Dolphins is because it's on the road.
Cincinnati gonna get destroyed if their defense play well.
Bro.
That's the thing. If they
bro. Here's the thing that you got to understand. Here's the things you got to understand about Cincinnati, and I'm gonna have fun with that prediction when we do that division too. They're in rare air territory right now.
Mm-hmm.
They have all the pieces that they've had over the years for the most part, with one major exception. They have legitimately one of the top 9 backfields in football because
And I
they have a
love it.
3-headed beast back there with Mr. Mixon, Mr. Bernard, and Mr. Hill.
Yeah, put
That
Hill
is
way
going
in the
to
back.
that is going, but see, that is going to make Andy Dalton a lot better than he usually is.
Exactly. And AJ Green is gonna feast
They're
out there.
and off that alone, they're going to be hard to handle. And then we go back to that basic rule of football. I don't know if the Broncos can move the ball on offense. And if they can't, I don't give a fuck how good their defense is. If you can't
Because
keep the ball on offense, you're gonna lose.
Who do y'all
That's
see
their biggest problem.
Who y'all think the quarterback gonna be when he gets started?
Simeon.
for who?
The Broncos.
Oh,
Simeon.
Simeon's gonna be there. He's more of the well-rounded quarterback, and he's the quarterback they want to be pushing. Or that's
I think
they won't pick
Paxton is a better fit.
I don't like him.
Paxton is a better fit, but Elway knows what the window of opportunity is looking like right now, and he's not
we
willing
also
to
talking about
sacrifice
Mike
that kid's
McCoy.
maturity.
We're talking about Mike McCoy now. So
But Elway is not willing to sacrifice that quarterback's maturity. He knows what it's like to be thrown to the fire.
I would have said that if they didn't get a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Like it feels like anytime a team gets a Super Bowl.
But even with that though, you saw he drug Peyton's worthless ass out there at starter and shoved it down their throat. He told Von Miller and them, I don't give a fuck if y'all mad at me or not. I don't give a fuck if you got to go out and win these motherfucking games 6-3. Peyton's ass is gonna be out there with that spaghetti arm and that brittle ass neck.
When you kind of fast forward and look at what Brock Osweiler did last year, it kind of makes sense. He made the right decision as a quarterback, you know.
And that's why I think that he makes the right decision again this year because I'm not gonna take the chance on Paxton Lynch, who literally hasn't shown me anything. Simeon has shown me flashes. He's shown me moments.
And that's what I say. That's why I give him a starter position over Lynch because he's shown you more. Simeon showed you last year that he can at least not fuck up anything. He can keep you consistently. Now, I think he can play a little bit better than what he did last year. And then I can't see Demaryius Thomas being as trashy he was last year because Demaryius Thomas was really a shell of himself
Demaryius Thomas is still going high. He went high last year. He's going high this year.
I hope he falls.
Let's not forget, though, on Trevor Simeon, man, this kid threw for 3,400 yards last year, 18 touchdowns. It's not like he just sucked it up.
He had a 400-yard passing game, and
you know what I'm saying.
And the only reason that sticks out to me the most, because I don't know if you guys know, but how many 300-yard quarterbacks has Houston had in the Bill O'Brien era? If anybody knows,
how many 300 in the Bill O'Brien era?
In the Bill O'Brien era, how many?
Probably.
I'd say 0 or 1, maybe.
One. Ryan Fitzpatrick against Tennessee.
Oh, well,
6 touchdown game. That's
and
it.
See, I'm superstitious too. Here's another one of those. Just call it a weird hunch, just, whatever you want to say, whoop whoop, but I'm big on certain things. One of the things that I've always banked on since I was a young man is this. I do not trust anybody that plays quarterback that is taller than 6 feet, 6 inches. Why? Because there's never, ever been a successful quarterback taller than 6'6". Ever.
Look at you doing your research.
Ever. I remember that from Dan McGuire when he came down the pipe in Seattle back in the early 90s. Mark McGuire's brother. Drew Bledsoe was 6'5". And that's the thing. That's that funny thing about it, man. You go back and you look at them. All the guys that you think of is real big. The Ben Roethlisbergers, the Cam Newtons, and stuff like that. They're all like 6'5", maybe top out at 6'6". That's why that perfect quarterback height, if you're anywhere between 6'2.5" to 6'5.5", perfect height. You get to that skyscraper shit, that Randy Johnson height, no, bro, it take you too long to wind up on that ball. We can't do it. We can't do it. I can see when you're about to pass. Your arm's too long. You can't hide it. You don't have a trigger, a quick trigger release when your arm is that long. That's like saying, oh, I couldn't see Randy Johnson's arm when he threw the ball. Bullshit. You saw every inch of his arm. You just couldn't deal with what came out of his hand. It's a huge difference.
I see the kid at least starting about 5 games this year. I think they want to at least see what he's made of and what he learned in the offseason.
With the records that I gave him, he'll be starting at that tail end of the season. He's going to be responsible for about 6 of those losses.
Because that's the point. I don't see Trevor Simeon being like a guy that's going to, oh, man, this is my job. Like, no, nigga, they don't really care about you. No, they can replace him anytime. They don't got no capital.
One thing I will say, however, John Elway actually really likes Trevor Simeon a lot.
Yeah, he does.
He likes Trevor Simeon a lot.
He likes Chad Kelly too, but that don't mean Chad Kelly.
You know what, sir? Do you know what right now? I can't even believe you just went to Chad Kelly. Really?
He went all the way
Last
back.
chance you? You went to Last Chance You on me? Great.
Hey,
he
Last
reads
Chance
about
You
it.
was a good show. Hey, that new
Hey,
season
season
coming out
2
this
about to
month.
come
Y'all
out,
get ready.
homie.
Y'all get ready. That's a plug right there for that.
Yes, sir. Season 2 about to come down. I'm about to binge watch the hell out of
Hell out of
that.
that hoe. Yes, sir.
But I do believe I'm staying as far
That
away
man
from
said
anybody.
Chad Kelly. I can't
Anybody on the
believe you right now.
Broncos will not be on my team, defense
Hey,
included.
hold
Oh
on.
no,
hold
I
on.
can't. I can't do that. I can't do that.
There's a player that I do want. I do want CJ Anderson. If he was to fall, then maybe to like the 6th or 7th round, because people are still kind of scared.
He burned me too many times.
He did burn because I remember
he got
him.
me.
Did you trade
Yo,
for him?
man, y'all
He got me
are
3
tripping.
times.
They may not have elite talent in mid rounds. Oh, I will take Sanders or Thomas in a fucking heartbeat.
I'll take Sanders. See, I'll take Sanders over
Demarius Demarius still going 4th round.
And that's
No,
fine.
no,
I'd rather have
homie. Demarius can go in the 6th.
I'd rather have Terrell Pryor or Sammy Watkins over
Demarius can go in the 6th. He's not gonna go in my 4th round unless I get a sucker to overbid for him.
And it's also don't sleep on Emmanuel Sanders for him going in the 8th round. The connection to him.
Yo, man, you gotta have a good wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. He's a good flex option. He's a standard. He's a PPR dream being a slot receiver because he catches a ton of passes and he gets a ton of targets.
And I think he's going to have a better year this year because you saw the connection there between.
Yeah, Simeon likes him. That's his.
I mean, not Paxton Lynch, Simeon and
yeah, he kind of had that safety blanket going on with Emmanuel. Emmanuel gonna eat this year.
Man, maybe. I don't expect a lot.
Now notice nowhere in this conversation did we mention anybody in the first 4 rounds. We just said that there were some folks that can fill in the gaps for you.
Now, if we talking about Jamal Charles,
hey, let's go. We need to start doing some bets. We already got we got the Tom Brady bet. DeMarcus, you feel you want to throw a bet out there
with these Broncos
with Sanders?
What I'm gonna give y'all 2 bets. I'm gonna say CJ Anderson don't rush for over 950 yards. I'm not gonna go to 4,000.
I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under.
I can't even take that bet.
I'm taking the under. I'm not that bold.
And Emmanuel won't have over 65 catches, and he won't have over 800 yards.
I'll take that bet.
I'll take that bet because Emmanuel Sanders is going to have 80+ catches and he's going to have close to 1,200 yards. He's going to have close to 1,200 yards.
By the time Patrick Lynch get in there, he's going to be falling in love with Jake Butt. And Jake Butt.
Man, you better sit your butt down talking that Jake Butt nonsense. Jake ain't even going to play this season.
He ain't playing not one.
Jake ain't going to play this season.
Jake going to play. Jake gonna get out there, and him and Paxton Lynch is going.
Jake gonna get out there and be in the finest warm up that the Broncos can buy to stand on that sideline. That's what Jake is gonna do.
Jake Butt gonna play 8 games. I guess.
Nah, you gonna put that up for a bet?
Let's go. 8 games for Jake Butt.
8 games for Jake Butt. Yeah, I'm all over that action, homie. I'm all over that action.
Gotta write this down.
He gonna play 8 games. Now let's get to these sorry ass Chargers, man.
Show me your lightning bolt. Show me your lightning bolt.
Hey, you stop talking about them damn Chargers now.
See sorry ass 5-11
with old man Rivers. The
crazy part is when I made the schedule, I got them losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive games.
Damn.
Let me see what mine is. Hold on, fam. Hold on. Because I think I might have you.
Week 3 to 8.
No, I got them 4 in a row.
Week 3 to 8 is rough.
Nah, I got 4 in a row. I got them losing at Denver. I got them losing Kansas City, Philly, at the Giants, at Oakland, at New England, at Jacksonville, at Dallas, at Kansas City, and at Oakland.
I got them beating the Browns.
I got them.
Yeah, I got them beating the Browns.
If that makes you feel better.
Like I said, I got them coming out the gate and winning 2.
Should have added that too. They might have been 4-12.
This is how y'all feel. Let me talk about the Chargers. I got them.
I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
I got them beating the Broncos at the season opener. I don't care what you say. Hey, Phillip Rivers always plays the Broncos better than anybody else, so I'm giving him a benefit of doubt. I don't trust the Dolphins, so I got them. Those 2 games.
Oh, they're gonna start out 2-0. They good old
Texas
2-0.
They're gonna start out 1-1.
They're gonna beat the Bills. Hey, they're gonna beat the Bills. They're gonna beat the Browns. They're gonna beat the Jets. How you
gonna skip to week 11 like we just?
Man, he's skipping week 2 to like week 13.
Bro,
player.
I was like, hold on, what they playing?
I was like, wait, what order you in? You all off the script. Wait, I don't even see that game yet.
How you just gonna jump?
Like he literally jumped a season, fam. He went from fall games to winter games, like immediately.
So after the bye week when they play Jacksonville,
after the Dolphins, I see them losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You count like you to count on Sesame Street. Just 1, 2, 8
3.
losses. 9 losses for the Lightning Bolts.
They saw
what? Yeah, man, I just see them going on a slump right there, and I see them figuring themselves out against the
Bills. And no shade, I really, really wanted to be optimistic as possible, but it was like the Lord heard me and was like, bruh, shut up. And he was like, look at this Mike Williams, though. I was like, damn.
Hey,
as soon as that Mike Williams came down the pipe, I was like, man, they're going another loss. They're going another loss.
That's not going to be the first injury either.
No. San Antonio. I mean, the damn LA Superchargers. Man, like over the last 4 or 5 years, them dudes have been like one of the most snake-bit teams in the NFL, particularly at skill positions on offense. Yeah. They are a fantasy nightmare
Woodhead,
in that regard.
Keenan Allen, man, I swear he screwed me 2 years in a row. Getting hurt.
Keenan Allen, his backup Kamar Aiken. I mean, take your pick.
Keenan Allen probably had the greatest first quarter I've ever seen in fantasy.
What?
For the season,
he was killing. He looked like he was gonna have like 140 some catches.
He had like 6 catches for 80 yards in the first. I'm like, oh my god, Keenan
Brothers was already reserving a fantasy football championship belts. Like, yeah, bitch, I'm gonna go order this one now and get it engraved. It's about to go down.
I had it. I said, you know what? I'm about to run this shit with Keenan Allen and David Johnson this year. Ooh, shit! And then Keenan Allen went down. I said, fuck, I'm gonna die. And I had to do slim pickings, but hey.
So I gotta. I know we had Mitchell on earlier this week, and he was super high on Melvin Gordon. But how you guys feel about him?
I agree, but again, it's that age-old adage with the Chargers, man. Can they stay healthy? If Gordon can stay healthy, and especially with the groove that he got into going late in the season last year, man, if he can keep that momentum going and he can stay healthy, it's not hard for me to see, especially with some of the limitations they have with their receiving depth, especially with Mike Williams being out and stuff like that. It would not be surprising to me to see Melvin come close to maybe 1,250, 1,300 yards and maybe 10 touchdowns.
What's the highest you would take Gordon? What's the highest?
Second round.
The highest I would take Gordon right now would be 3rd round.
I'll take him in the second. I'll take him in the second round because I see him getting them catches that left behind by Woodhead.
Melvin Gordon is going consensus 1st round right now. Even in the mock draft.
And you know, it's funny because it's one of those things that it's almost by default because he's literally head and shoulders above everybody else in his division at this point. So that's a quarter of the conference that he's better than right there. And then you go through in the AFC South.
LaShawn McCoy.
You go through and you look at the AFC South, the running back talent that they have there. You got some decent talent, but there's really outside of Le'Veon Bell, depending on what we might get out of LaShawn McCoy, Le'Veon LaShawn, depending on maybe we get something out of Joe Mixon, depending on how they use them, depending on how it works out with DeMarco, and if they share time a little bit more in Tennessee, and if Lamar Miller can stay healthy in Houston, there's really not a whole bunch of running back talent, in that conference. So it's not hard to believe that he wouldn't go 1st round. I just wouldn't personally take him 1st round.
But I see him getting a lot of catches this year because that loss of Woodhead. Come in. He's going to be a safety blanket for Phillip Rivers, and especially if that offensive line don't hold up like they did last year. So I'm going to give Melvin Gordon a little bit of love.
Let me go through a few backs and see when y'all feel like, all right, Melvin is going to be next in the tier.
Leonard, come on with it. I'll take him over Leonard.
I'll take him over them too.
Lamar Miller.
No.
That's a push for me. That's about even Stevens for me.
I can see the push, but I'm high on Lamar Miller because with the whole, running back situation in Houston.
To me, they're both in identical situations, though, and they both have the same limitations. They're only limited by if they can stay healthy or not. If they're both healthy, they're both awesome talents. They're both awesome talents.
I think Watson really Bill O'Brien really going to craft. He's going to utilize Lamar more in the passing game this year. I hope.
Exactly. He should have been watching the fucking film from when he played in Miami.
Look out for Tyler Ervin. He's gonna surprise a lot of y'all.
I'm not real high on Irvin just for the simple fact of If Lamar Miller stays healthy coming out of the gate, and I know that Urban has him. No, Urban has flashes. He gave me flashes last year. But I know how O'Brien is with the manner in which he coaches. If Lamar Miller comes out healthy with that hot hand, he's going to stay with that hot hand. And it don't matter what Urban does.
We'll see. But back to this. Todd Gurley.
I'll take
Melvin Gordon over him.
I can't trust Jared Goff at this point. I can't trust
Gurley.
Ajayi.
I'm taking Ajayi.
I'm taking Ajayi. I'm high on him this year.
I'm taking Ajayi. I'm not as high on him because I think that Tannehill is going to take a step back this year, but I still think that I'd take him over Gordon.
And I think Tannehill going to take that step back, like you said, but I think they're going to start, I guess, planning more for Ajayi.
And they will, but I also think that means the defenses are going to game plan and start putting 8-9 in the box on his ass, too. That's the only limitation. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think that Ajayi is going to run for at least 1,200 yards this year. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think that he can have that explosion. If they had a more viable option at quarterback, I think that he could get a lot more yards in that system, especially on the run receiving split, because I think they would involve him more in that passing game, too.
All right. DeMarco Murray.
By a mile over Gordon. I'll take him by a mile over Gordon. Yeah.
They both have those injury concerns.
They both have the injury concerns, but DeMarco Murray is functioning in such a wealth of talent around him. Real hard for him not to succeed. He's got one of the top 5 lines in the NFL. He's got a great young study quarterback. They drafted an entire receiving core to make Mariota that much better. And they weren't that bad last year to begin with. And he has motivation because he's got that big-ass tank that's more than willing to take his carries if he don't want to get them. Exactly. That alone, I think, is going to have DeMarco Murray having a really good season.
Get some motivation in his system.
That's why Tennessee is my surprise this year, actually, in the entire AFC. I think they're going to surprise.
And let's give a bump to the receivers. All the receivers give a round or two.
Man.
They all get a bump with Mike Williams going down. Tyrell Williams especially.
Tyrell Williams is going to move up some people's lists and stuff like that. For me, it just puts all of their receivers in a holding pattern because I don't know who's going to come out and establish themselves as that rock solid number 2 now, because I thought that either Williams or Williams would have been
I still think Keenan Allen a bargain, but yeah, I think he's gonna fly up.
I think he's a bargain.
He was almost going to the 5th round. Tyrell was going to the 11th. Yeah. I can see Keenan in the 3rd. I can see Tyrell in maybe the 8th.
I can see Keenan staying where he is, and I can see Williams moving up. I can see Tyrell.
Would y'all rather have Tyrell Williams or Jeremy Maclin?
I'll take Tyrell Williams. Trust Jeremy Maclin on that squad.
Tyrell.
I got to go with the guy that's going to lead.
Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was always going to throw. Phillip Rivers is going to make him eat.
And you saw before Tyrell,
whether he wants to or not.
Look, nobody throw more than Joe Flacco. And if Maclin going to take over the Steve Smith role and be eating in the middle, we already seen what Maclin can do in the slot.
We say that. I say that, but
But Maclin got to stay healthy too, just like all the rest of these cats.
And I see
and Maclin is older.
Hey, I see the connection that Phillip Rivers had with Tyrell last year.
How sure are we that all Chargers are going to stay healthy? So, shit, I might as well take a chance on a different damn team.
I'm sorry. I just told you what their record is.
Man, let's move on.
I can't believe you asked me that question.
Next wide receiver, man. Go to the next wide receiver to disrespect the Chargers. Phillip Rivers pissed at the
Show me your lightning bolt.
Show it. Them Cooter boys, they up there talking crazy about my Chargers.
Show me your lightning bolt.
Hunter Henry's going too damn high.
Way too high, man. That's 8th round.
And it's going to get higher now because they think
what is that? Is that the what do you got, gas?
It sounds like an ambulance.
I don't know what that is.
It sounds like you got to ring the alarm on that sleeper.
He's a sleeper.
I think Hunter is going to have a really good year.
But if he's a sleeper, but into the 7th round, like
Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates is still there, man. And he's still going to track his numbers.
I would sneak out on love for him potentially breaking the bank as a sleeper. I would take Hunter Henry as high as the 5th round.
Oh my Lord! I'll take. That's a bank. Hey, let's take that. Let's take that bet.
Do you realize at the 5th round you can get Greg Olsen? You probably get Travis Kelce.
Yep.
You ready for that bet?
And you take.
What are we betting?
It's that fish and grits bet. I don't know. We're gonna decide on all these bets what we're gonna end up doing. We're gonna come up with an official name.
I got a slight headache. I
think that Hunter Henry is gonna catch at least 800 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Let me take my glasses off because I don't know if I'm reading this wrong.
Let's get a fish and grits bet
I think Hunter Henry is gonna catch 808 touchdowns if he stays.
I think he may slip up and catch I give him 600.
The biggest problem I see Wilson is I believe we all know that Hunter Henry has the capability
talent.
to be a top 5 tight end. But as long as old man Gates is around,
He's still hopping around
until he get his record. Now, if he get his record like the first 4 weeks, I think those last 12 weeks has got to be the
But
Hunter
see,
Henry.
I think that doesn't change anything because the only thing that's going to happen is either Hunter or Antonio is just going to get the leftover residuals that the rookie was going to get.
But
it's not really going to change the number of targets.
Last year,
it's about the fact that when they get down to the red zone, that Phillip Rivers is clearly going to be looking for Antonio. That's a problem.
But the old man also knows that everybody is going to assume that. So you watch and see Hunter sneak about 4 in red zone.
Hey, hold on.
Phillip Rivers was damn near throwing picks trying to get.
Hey, let me hold on.
I feel you.
Hey, let the Charger fan talk. Like I said, if you watch, hold on. Last year, if you watch those games in the red zone, they were only going to Melvin Gordon or they were going to Antonio Brown's or Tyrell Williams. For the simple fact is Antonio Gates was doing those picks. He just sit up there and box screen everybody into the thing.
Yeah.
Get it. But I can see him.
Can I ask a question out of curiosity though? Just out of random curiosity.
Go for it.
Who's the coach of LA this year?
Anthony Lynn.
Oh, okay. All right. Well.
But he's still gonna throw. I'm gonna tell you, Phillip Rivers still has an eye for him because Hunter Henry he showed flashes when Antonio Gates got hurt last year. You
can have the eye, and I completely understand that. But when you go through and you get a different set of eyes that's running that offense that'll run plays specifically to get that man open in them corner fades and on them quick hitters and in them pick routes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Mark my words, Hunter Henry is going to have a really good season if he stays healthy.
I don't think he's worth the 5th round tag until next year, bro.
I feel you. That's part of the joy that I get of being able to say I told you so when he catches 800 passes, 800 yards, and 8 touchdowns.
And another thing last year when he had the flashes,
he had 8 touchdowns last year.
But look, on top of that, he had the flashes of being like a top tight end, and they still didn't go to him last year. I still don't think they're gonna go to him this year. I think it's gonna take for Antonio. It's gonna be the whole.
At the end, it was the Gates show. Gates was trying to get the record.
Yeah, he was making up for lost time because wasn't he out the first half of the year?
Yeah, his foot is gonna be healthy. Yeah. I give.
We hope it stays healthy. You talking about year 16? We hope that it stays healthy.
I don't know, man.
That's a lot of mileage on that young man.
I'll take that bet. 800.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Wilson. I think you can wait on Hunter, man. But if you want to be super,
no. I know that I can, but that's why I said I would be willing to take him.
Okay.
5th. I didn't say that he was going to go 5th. I just said that I would be willing to take him as high as 5th because I'm high on his potential as far as production this season. I'm not saying that he's a legit 5th round pick. I'm just saying that off of the sleeper love, I would be willing to jump that high
I feel he will. At some point, he's gonna take over Greg Olsen.
In 2 years, he'll be a fucking 3rd round pick. I'm not worried about it.
He'll be nice because his route running skills is amazing.
Yeah, that dude is on it.
He can block, so he's a good blocker.
And that's the part. He's got that Jason Witten vibe to him with a little bit more quickness, and I like that. That's a good skill set to have a tight end.
He ate up them Broncos, and as good as they defense, they couldn't stop that at all.
But as good as Hunter Henry is, he ain't no OJ Howard. So I'm just gonna.
Oh no, he ain't no. Okay.
Just gonna leave that out there.
OJ gonna be stealing crab legs at Publix, and he ain't even gonna play this year. And then what you gonna do?
Oh man, here we go.
Until you name a player that affected 2 national championship games more than OJ Howard, I don't want to hear nothing about OJ Howard.
Let's move on. Let's go.
I'm sorry. Were you challenging me historically?
Oh no, we ain't ready for that debate. Let's move on.
All right,
Mark was ready for that.
You want me to start with Tommy Frazier and Lawrence Phillips, or you want me to come up closer than that?
I'm talking about the last 2 championships.
Oh! You just said 2. I'm just saying. I've seen players that have had more impact over 2 consecutive championships
from back-to-back years
than OJ Howard.
It's 2 players that changed everything.
From back-to-back years, I'll take Tommy Frazier. I'll take Lawrence Phillips. I'll take the entire University of Miami team from 2000 and 2001. I mean, take your pick. He's good, but he ain't that good. Don't get it twisted.
Before we get out of here, I want to do this exercise with y'all. I just want to see what y'all come up with. I want y'all to give me a University of Miami starting 11 on defense at every position. What you got?
Oh, my God. Why does it have to be Miami?
Come on. I just want to see what y'all got. I do this all the time.
Can't stand Miami's black ass. Sorry, mother. You're offending me as a Florida State diehard Seminole fan.
Come with it.
Let me
Come with it.
see. Defensive line, I'm gonna go with Jerome Brown,
Okay.
Warren Sapp.
JB Sapp.
Um, I'm gonna go with I just had his name on the tip of my tongue. God damn it.
Vince Wilfork.
Big
I
Vince,
like
and then the other guy that played at the same time is
Oh, I know who you talking about. Oh, it's gonna make me mad too.
Cortez. Cortez.
Oh, yeah. It was
Cortez.
one. It was one more too that had played for the Giants. I can't think
But
of
I'm
his
gonna leave it
name.
to four. I'm gonna leave it to
Okay.
four. Yeah,
All right.
they got a
Yeah,
shitload,
they
but I'm
got
gonna
a
just leave that
shitload.
I
to my
like
four.
Ed. We're gonna put Ed Reed back
Whoa,
there.
whoa, whoa! We're gonna
Oh,
take it. We're gonna take it
you
level
take
by
him back.
level.
Okay.
Linebacker, I'm
Ray
going
Lewis,
Ray Lewis, Dan
Yeah.
Vilma.
Morgan, and Michael Barrow.
Oh
Oh,
man,
Michael over Vilma.
Vilma. I said Vilma over him.
Or
I mean,
you know what? You
I'm
know
not
what?
mad at you. I'm not
You
mad
know
at you.
what? I take that back. I'm not gonna go Michael Barrow.
Or
I'm
you
gonna
gonna do
go.
Hendrick?
No. I'm gonna go Texas, and I'm gonna go Friday Night Lights. Who was the man that they made Friday Night Lights about?
The man that made Friday Night Lights about.
It was about recruiting the kid to go to the University of Miami.
Was it?
Yeah, linebacker. Played for the Giants.
Dude, I'm blanking on this.
I don't know.
I'm gonna let y'all stay blank. Y'all are gonna kick yourselves when you figure out who it is.
Oh Lord.
Secondary? You said Ed Reed, right?
Oh, we talking about the secondary now.
Yeah, Ed Reed.
You got Sean Taylor.
Oh, you got to get my man
You
Sean.
taking Taylor? Or you taking Blades?
You taking Taylor, baby.
I'm taking Taylor, man.
Are you sure? Have you really seen film on Benny Blades?
Man, I just like Sean
I'm
Taylor. I
taking
don't know.
Taylor was the ultimate college player at that time. He did
And
it all.
everybody that's ever gone to the University of Miami will tell you that the OG, the granddaddy of them all for safeties at Miami was Blades.
Well,
But I
shit,
mean, I feel you.
you better
I
take
feel
Ed
you.
Reed
It's a
off.
generational thing. It's a
You
generational thing.
better take
It's
Ed ass off.
completely understand. Ed ain't gonna budge. Ed will always be there.
I'll
That's
put
that's
Ed up there.
that's what I'm saying.
Man, Taylor there for me. Between
I
Taylor
love
and
Sean Taylor.
Sean.
Taylor's there, and you can go off of the college production is undeniable and stuff like that. But there's a lot to
Sam
be
Shields.
said too about being a 2 year starter during the power years as opposed to being a 4 year starter during the power years. That's why
Well,
I picked Blades over Taylor.
Taylor's at the trail end. I mean,
Well, I mean, you can call it what you want, you can say
Sean was
whatever it is, but
Sean
the
was like the
bottom
last.
line
He was like the
was
last of the Mohicans, man.
he could not beat out Mike Rump at safety.
Not freshman year, no.
But don't get it twisted. That's one of the worst what ifs that I have to think about because I was hell bent as much as I hated the Hurricanes.
Mm.
He was going to be one of the best safeties to ever play football.
Yep.
He
Cool.
was going to be Sean Taylor was going to be one of the best
Yeah,
NFL
it's sad
safeties
that
ever.
he died, man. That's
Ever. That kid was so unbelievably talented,
yeah,
man.
he had the talent, man. And it's
It
sad
was
to see him
unreal.
go.
He had the physical skill set, but he had the football IQ too, man. He was smart. He
Quickness
wasn't just
too.
a headhunter. He wasn't just a speed guy. He was a total package. He was like having another quarterback back there in that defensive backfield, man. He was special. He was real special.
Oh, no
Part
doubt.
of the reason why Washington had to go through and go back to the drawing board on defense, stuff like that, because that was sort of their Lynn bias moment. That superstar they were supposed to have to lock it down in that defense for years that
Yeah.
just kind of gone too soon.
No.
Corners. Oh. Corners get dicey for me because Miami's been more of a safety school than a corner school
Yes, that's
for me.
If I needed to return it, I'd put Hester in there.
But yeah, but I literally just consider Hester a returner.
But
I don't really consider him at any
and
position.
Antrell Roll, Philip
And
Buchanan.
Trail Roll, I love. I would put him in one of those. I just put him at a DB. When it comes to Miami, can I just say DBs and not even have to specify? Because most of they safeties was good enough to play corner anyway. Being
Anyway.
honest,
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
so I put Reed, I put Taylor, I put Blades, I put Roll.
I like Sam Shields.
I put Sam Shields out there for a nickel.
That's a well spent nickel then.
Oh yeah, and we're about to strike lightning twice because that trial by fire that kid that they love beating up on last year is going to pay off. Ladarius Gunter is going to be a good cornerback for the Green Bay Packers. Remember, I said that shit too.
Yeah, shit. If he can get past Kenny King, Well,
Oh no.
He may start.
He won't have to. He's gonna stay in his lane, and he's going to be a slot corner.
Yeah,
but the experience that he gained
that's gonna be
from last year is gonna be nice.
Yeah,
it's gonna work out for him.
No doubt. I just had to knock out that quick exercise with y'all. But back to these sorry ass Chargers before we get up out of here.
We was done. Hey, you better first of all, we was done with the Chargers. We don't even need to go back to them.
I'm just gonna say this because I know it's gonna be one dog fight. I don't know if Wilson gonna be involved, but it's gonna be a fight for one of us to get Phillip Rivers in our draft.
Oh, I'm getting Phillip Rivers, man.
I forgot all about that.
You better jump your ass up and get him, dude.
The gunslinger himself.
So how many leagues are we doing together?
Right now we got you in a league that we did last year. It's gonna be the $25 buy-in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're gonna start the official Fits and Grits League. I'm not sure how I want to do the invitations on it, but that's gonna be 12-team league right there. So I know
you gonna throw him in a 2-team league too, DeMarcus?
If I even start the 2 quarterback back up.
Okay.
So if I can get everybody down whenever.
Oh, y'all do one of those too?
Yeah.
Well, DeMarcus used to run one.
Yeah, I run 5 or 6 now.
Oh well, you can throw us in them leagues.
Oh, that's what I was going to inform you. You guys are going to participate in one of my leagues, one of my Legends leagues.
We in there.
This is one that's going to be fun because I always enjoy the fact that I like to do what I call even out leagues. The way that I score on my leagues, because they're going to be IDP. You're going to draft an entire football team. You're going to start 11 on each side. But just like real football, it's not going to be, if my running back don't have a great day or if my quarterback don't have a great day. Because no, if your DB show up and show out, or if your linebacker show up and show out, you can still win your games. But you got to put your thinking caps on.
I've been doing a little research on the IDPs as far as the rankings and everything. So
I'll tell you right now, man.
I knew you was going to invite us, so
once you do an IDP league, it's going to be hard for you to do it any other way. They're just too much fun. Too much fun.
That's just fantasy in general.
I did an IDP league and it kind of pissed me off. And I said I never
did. They score it right?
I mean, it scored. I don't know how the typical scoring was going to be. I'm
saying, you know how typical scoring will be slanted to where, okay, you can have all them defensive players, but if they don't give you a lot of points for them, it doesn't really matter. It won't change the game for you if your defensive players play good.
Yeah, his defensive players changed the game. I was getting pissed off, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, we got to work on the rotation.
You know what? It's always. I said I'll try it again.
Oh yeah, and to me, like I said, my overall goal to loving to play fantasy football in the first place was just to get my friends to have more reasons to hang out and have more reasons to watch football in general, not just your favorite team or my favorite team, but watch all the football and doing stuff like that. Oh, when it come down to needing that last 15 points from that corner that you got playing in that 3:00 game or that Sunday night game to get you that win. Oh yeah, you'll find that you can root for. You'll find that you can root for a lot of people.
Exactly.
I was in that motherfucker last year rooting for Vikings and Cowboys and all kinds. Man, you better get that goddamn pick. Shit.
So how many teams you got in the league? 10 or 12?
In the one that I'm about to do and invite y'all in, it'll probably be a 12-team league.
Nice.
I try to cap my leagues at 12 because it makes it comfortable as far as being just challenging enough to where you can still have a quality team and you don't have to depend on 4th and 5th stringers. Especially if you're playing in an IDP league, because that means just the general volume of people that you're going to have. In a standard IDP league that I run, you're going to end up having a roster overall of about 30 to 35 players because you're going to have players on the bench as well. And you'll be starting 22 every week. So just off sheer volume, if you got 12 teams, okay, everybody has enough talent to have decent teams. Nothing too extraordinary, but nothing too crappy to where you got somebody's 2nd or 3rd string quarterback hoping that somebody gets hurt so you can actually get some points. Because I've been in those kind of leagues before, but 12 usually keeps it just right. 10, 8, you got Golden State Warriors teams everywhere.
Oh, we already know. We already know how that goes.
Yeah. Everybody got Steph and KD and Draymond. No, I'm good.
All those super teams running around. Well, that's what's up, man. Yeah, we'll get all the leagues and everything together. Definitely before the start of August, we'll get everything crazy.
Yeah, we just gotta wait for ESPN to start activating these leagues back.
What? They started this week. They officially.
They haven't gotten around to me yet. I'm upset with that. I still haven't gotten my activations yet. Yeah, they were like, well, we haven't gotten around everybody and stuff like that. And I guess I don't know if they're doing alphabetical order because my last name is Wilson or what, but it was like, yeah, we'll get around to them. So I'm like, yo, man, I know y'all ain't lost my leagues because I got like 9 ESPN leagues. I got 9 ESPN leagues. I got 4 Yahoo leagues. I got a CBS Sports league. I got a Flea Flicker account league, and I think a frat brother of mine is gonna have me join another league. I don't know which system or whatever it's gonna be on, but yeah, this is my time of year. This is what I do. My
goal this year is probably 20 to 25 leagues.
That's what's up. Now, do y'all do all kinds? Do y'all do any auction leagues?
I haven't done no auction leagues yet, man. I'm clearly drafting. I just like the draft aspect of it. I haven't really gotten to the auction.
I feel you. They're an acquired taste, and it kind of tests that GM side of you because you really got to manage your money right.
Yeah.
And they're cool, but then those come down to whose pricing scale you go off of, and how much is this person gonna cost or that person cost and stuff like that. So it's a different kind of way to do it. And if you get around the right people, if you get into a league of folks that really may not be too experienced at it, it makes it a little bit fun to kind of learn as you go. But I try my best when I first started doing fantasy sports in general to try to just do all the kinds to kind of see what it is that I like and what it is that I don't like.
Nice. Marcus, Griffin, before we get out of here, man, you got any plugs for us?
Oh, the only plugs is Insecure comes on Sunday, Game of Thrones on Sunday, and also Ballers out there for the football fans. The boy
already.
It's always a good one for the football fans. So good shout out. Girls Trip for the ladies. I know that's a hot one.
For the guys too.
I'm thinking about checking that one out. I hope it don't get. I heard it's a little bit raunchy.
Me and the wife gonna check that out tomorrow.
I was so close to having to go with my girl to go check it out, but her friends came through.
Hey, go check it out.
Oh, man, stop being like that, man. Stop depriving yourself.
You know what? When you start to get, hey, hold on, listen to this. Like we
don't act like it ain't no eye candy to look at. I mean, don't trip.
I ain't act like that, but tomorrow I think I'm just gonna relax and chill.
It's not like you gonna see Magic Mike or the Black City or whatever that.
Yeah, it's not like we saying, oh, go check out Magic Mike XXL. Yeah,
No, it's just girls trip. It's just something to go see with your woman. She probably will appreciate.
I'm so pumped about football that all I want to do right now, honestly, fellas, is just go play one game of Madden. I hope your girl don't get that. She say, "Oh no, you did, motherfucker."
I was about to say, I hope she's not a fan of Fish and Grits.
I think while she at the movies, I'm gonna run a lit franchise or something.
For real. So it's franchise. Yeah, ain't no quarterback sneaks today. Ain't no quarterback sneaks in here today. Ain't nobody getting in this end zone.
Ain't nobody getting in this end zone.
Might as well call me the 2000 Ravens, baby, because you ain't scoring nothing this way.
Hey, let me another plug we gotta say is for that Meek Mill album that's gonna drop tomorrow. Not everybody's a fan of Meek Mill, but I gotta show little love to Meek Mill.
You talking about that wins and losses?
Yeah, that wins and losses. It drops tomorrow.
It's on the.
Oh, I got it already. Okay, let me blackify this. Yes, I got the album already.
Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah.
I got it already.
People that are in the know, yeah. I'm just making sure. I was about to say, because I know a cat that know a cat that
know me.
I don't want to incriminate myself on these airwaves. You know what I'm saying? But I know a guy that know a guy.
I hear the piracy going on here.
You know what I'm saying? That might know a download code that fell off a truck that he was riding in with another guy. You know what I'm saying?
That's the way I pass on information right there.
Hey.
So let the people know out there one time.
That's my plug.
Don't be Kevin Hart. You know what I'm saying? Don't get caught up like that.
Oh my god.
Don't be Usher. Don't be having to let it burn to it, then let yourself burn.
Oh my god.
And stop.
Oh my god.
R. Kelly, we tired of this. We tired of you, man. You always in the news with some negative shit. R. Kelly need to open up a foundation.
Boy, everybody should have known how R. Kelly was when he was with Aaliyah back in the day when she was 15 and he was 20 something.
Yeah, try to get married to her.
We already know how his mind is.
I'm so upset with y'all right now.
Okay, we gonna move on. What you got? And then go ahead and check us out at Fish and Grits on Twitter. Follow us at Fish and Grits on Twitter, at Fish and Grits 713 on Facebook, Twitter, and SoundCloud.
Yes, sir.
Y'all little
mixtape
fishing
coming
good.
soon. You know,
Yes, sir.
we gonna do it all out here.
For
We
me,
dropping
man, the only plug that I have is this, man. It touches on a little bit of everything that we talked about today. In all seriousness, for everybody that hears us talking on here, we love to have a good time and stuff like that. But two things. Number one, going back to it because it's so unfortunate that we had to lose a life. If you are
mental health.
feeling any kind of way about not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, not feeling like you have any alternatives, please do not keep that to yourself. Do not let pride cost you the ultimate prize. Seek help, call somebody, find somebody to listen and help you. Secondly, for all of these folks, because we have so much that goes on in the world. We had everything from OJ to Usher, R. Kelly, Kevin Hart, you name it. We got so much going on 24 hours a day and stuff like that. Number one, always remember that The Matrix is more than just a movie. There's a little bit of truth in everything that you see in fantasy. Be aware of the stuff that goes on in these cloud devices and internet streets and stuff like that. And learn to read between the lines. Know the stuff that's clickbait and sensationalism, and know the stuff that you should be paying attention to. And most importantly, if you love yourself and your people and what you're all about and what you represent the way that you say that you do, don't just speak on it, act upon it. If you want to see change, be changed. Don't talk about change. Be too busy changing to talk about it. Go out there and do something. Don't be internet famous. Be real world famous. Be real world popular. Trust me, it's a lot more satisfying. I guarantee it.
And that's
Exactly.
gonna be the end of the
Oh,
Quiet Storm with Magic Wonder.
Man,
oh, and then also let me
love
go ahead and throw.
yourselves.
He was
Love
talking.
yourselves.
He took it to a serious note. Let me go ahead and give a shout out or a little reverence, or rest in peace to my uncle that was killed on Monday.
Oh
His funeral
man,
was going to be on
condolences and prayers.
Sunday. I mean, on Saturday at Fallbrook Church on DeSoto Street in Acres Home. If anybody want to stop by and pay their respects, but yeah, he was a good man. Just we all make bad decisions. Sometimes the worst
Sincerest
decision that we
condolences and
make,
prayers
we
for
have to
that.
pay the most for.
No
Yeah.
doubt, no doubt. Love your family today, because you may not be able to say goodbye.
Exactly,
Man, tell them all that you love them. Tell them all that you love them. I just came from a family reunion and I love them all to death.
No doubt, no doubt. But as for now, this has been Fish and Grits, and you guys have just been served.
Y'all enjoy.
Peace.